This is Hot Takes. This is where all opinions are welcome. There is no such thing as a bad opinion on Hot Takes. This is a safe space for all opinions. Yeah, I was going to say something for me. What is Hot Takes to you?
How are we doing? Well, for me, hot takes. Now, when we use the word hot takes, maybe the first thing that you assume is maybe a controversial opinion or a bad opinion or something that somebody doesn't agree with completely. But that's not exactly necessarily what it means to me. What it means to me is just something that provokes a conversation, that makes you think a little bit. That is maybe, that it can occasionally be something that not everybody agrees with, but might be something that not everybody thought of. And maybe people would be inspired by if they did hear it. So it's not necessarily something that's for shock or for cringe or anything like that. It's for something to create conversation and to move forward the discussion of what art is and where we go with it.
Gosh, that's a really good summary.
How are we doing right now?
Nervous. All
We're
right.
back and we have video.
Yeah, wait, we're moving now, right?
Looks like
We
it.
are.
Yeah.
We're
I love that
moving, we're
city
dreaming,
behind you, Indy.
We're grooving. Thank you.
Yeah.
It's gonna change. It's gonna go away
Those nighttime
soon.
cityscapes are close to my heart.
Oh yeah.
How are we doing now? We good? We live?
I think so.
We're live. We're here. Look, everyone's.
Everyone's chatting.
Oh, all right, fantastic.
Thank them for their
So
patience.
I'll let you guys do your thing about the show one more time.
I already did it. I'll do it again if you want.
He already did it. So this is where we have our open, honest discussions about art and music. I think it's good to be critical about art. I think you would agree.
I would.
I don't think that anyone. I mean, it's difficult to be critical about art without hurting feelings sometimes. But I think this is a constructive place to maybe mentally joust a little bit and just share some opinions. And just geek out about stuff that we like, you know? I kind of had the idea, not to go on too much about it, but I kind of had the idea in a conversation with Porter Vaughn about his love of I think it was post-hardcore or some random genre of music that a lot of Vaporwave people don't much talk about. And I was like, there's a lot of music from my past that I really just want to geek out with people about that doesn't get talked much about anymore because it's just a little on the older side or whatever. So that's why I wanted to do this.
So
you know what?
go
That's
ahead.
why I like hanging around you. Like that exact reason.
You're too kind.
You
Like last night when you
understand
mentioned
what
Broken
it's
Social
like.
Scene.
You get it,
Oh.
and that's what people in this community do. They get it, and that's why we stick around with them and all that.
Yeah,
Right.
Sorry
yeah
to
no,
cut you
that's
off.
a very good point. So, you talk about wanting to speak out many different other types of music, et cetera, in addition to Vaporwave. And the fact of the matter is that really nobody comes to Vaporwave without first having gone through so many other genres within the counterculture first.
Right.
Because Vaporwave is such a new genre, not many people have really just grown up with it yet. So most people who come to Vaporwave, it's usually because they've studied multiple other genres, multiple other subculture genres, pretty much from 1978 onwards. Even if it wasn't their thing, they most of the time checked it out and discovered the artists that were the really important ones, went through them, found some other obscure ones, digested that information and said, I want more. I want more art, I want more culture, I want more inspiration. And then you get to a point when you enter Vaporwave and you can take all these lessons and all these sounds that you experienced and learned from in the other music genres, and you could put them together into a little playground and just mess around with all of them. Mess around with even the songs themselves, the textures themselves, in addition to the ideas that were learned from those different genres, right? Think about Vaporwave. Think about how much influence there comes from with city pop or techno or shoegaze, right? And a lot of these sort of this information from the genres is put into the person's mind, and then it's run through, and there's a spine underneath it that supports it, and that spine underneath it is the really big artists that inspire most of the Vaporwave people, right? And that would be the Avalanches or Boards of Canada or Daft Punk or One-O-Tricks or Ferraro, right? Or Negative Land. So that's the spine that creates the sort of mood for Vaporwave. But Vaporwave itself, the body and the flesh, is created by all the other experiences from all the other music that you have heard till you began making Vaporwave. And that, to me, is what makes this just really super important and super special. And that's why it's lasted. And that's why Vaporwave, my first hot take, is the reason that Vaporwave has lasted is because it draws on from all the other genres, whereas a lot of these other genres are just sort of self-reflexive and draw from themselves. They draw from like a techno artist draws from other techno artists most of the time. And sometimes that's pretty much what happens with punk and almost any other scene. All the artists usually kind of draw from themselves. Maybe they have a little bit of inspiration outside their genre, but they're always looking at themselves. Whereas Vaporwave is always looking at itself, but then always looking back at what it learned before from the genres that existed before it did. And then always looking around to see what else is happening. Honestly, the only reason I feel like that lately I find myself mostly listening to Vaporwave these days is because the genre has expanded so much, and the other genres I used to listen to prior to Vaporwave, well, I mean, they just sort of, they've stagnated for the most part. There isn't as much interesting going on in those other genres anymore because like the, the ghost of experimentation has lifted itself and put it into Vaporwave at this point. And, my hot take is that, Vaporwave is kind of one of the only genres you might even need in 2020.
Oh, shit.
That's 2020s in general. It's like, because they eat everything else. And like, I just like, and it's funny. And I even talked to George. I remember talking to George and him being like, man, all I listen to is Vaporwave because Vaporwave is just everything now. So, I mean, what do you guys think? Do you think that the other genres are moving in the same way that Vaporwave does? Even the new genres, is hyperpop moving the same way that Vaporwave does to keep eating different ideas, or is just Vaporwave going to eventually eat hyperpop too? Like, what do you guys think? I mean, really, like seriously, I can't load the fucking thing on my computer right now to read your chat, so I'm gonna have to look at it on the phone. So like,
dude, I'm so sorry.
Like, give me some fucking opinions, please.
Yeah, you guys sound off. I want to hear your answer to that first, Indy.
Yeah, Indy, what do you think about? Where do you stand on all this, sir?
Yeah.
I was gonna say Vaporwave is really cool because in the sense when you're looking at all these different genres and sounds and the types of people that gravitate toward different genres, like if you're into music, you may have fit into a certain clique growing up, a musical clique. Like for me, it was metal and ska and punk and that sort of thing.
Ah, man.
man.
Ska night, as I made very clear back on when I was
already
on
with the ska. You just got started.
Heck in the chat still.
Mark's a huge fan. He literally had the ska compilation.
We're gonna have him on here.
So when I like mentioned ska to Mark, R23X, he was like, "Oh, well, funny you should mention." Go ahead. I didn't interrupt.
No, it's cool. I love the tangents. That's what I'm about, right?
Hot take. I can't take ska. No, it's fine. You're okay. I get it.
I know, right?
I just like that.
But it's you're like sort of tied to those genres and the groups of people. Like I was into emo sort of, so I looked for people that dress like that, right?
Definitely have a question for you in regards to that once we're done.
Yeah.
Okay. And that's not true for every genre, but it does happen sometimes. And what I think is neat about Vaporwave is we connect through whatever genre and whatever type of person you were, like whatever you're into, what your vibe is, electronic or instrumental, just as one example. And we can converge and sort of connect and share the appreciation for this music that has kind of brought us to where we are today with music. And collectively sort of shun it or manipulate it to throw it back in the face of pop culture or whatever. Because we sort of can't escape it. Music that gets played and shoved in our face all the time. So there's like a great opportunity to go ahead. No,
I'm sorry, but that's just like, it reminds me of, there's something that there's like this letter, that's open letter that like Bansky wrote one time about how like, no, like you're being assaulted every day when you walk down the street by like this music that you didn't ask for, or this stuff that you didn't ask for, advertisements you didn't fucking ask for, music you didn't fucking ask for, and you're being assaulted by it. So if you can make art so like doing things like making Vaporwave and taking songs and warping them, right? It's like the same as graffiti, man. It's just like it's taking the other stuff and throwing it back in its face, right? Like I didn't ask to like, fucking listen to Ed Sheeran every time I'm at work. I don't ask for that. I don't want that to happen. I don't have a fucking choice. Like,
Let me read this comment that Zanrai Kid said. Not to interrupt, he says hyperpop, to extrapolate what Chris mentioned, is looking back at the cringe culture / dubstep of 2010s and pop punk of 2000s to invent itself. Disco was dead.
Take.
I know, right? House brought it back.
Vaporwave people are so smart. Like, they really just interpret shit. And that's the other thing about Vaporwave fans in general, is the ability to look at this art and diagnose it. Like, who said that?
Zanrai Kid always has those takes.
Of course,
that which was dead is born again, better for the changing times and technologies. Yeah. That's
brilliant.
That is a hot take.
Yeah, that's what I'm talking about with hot takes, man. I'm talking like about analysis here. I'm talking about scholar. I'm talking about being erudite, man. That's great. Not like that sucks.
Do you guys have the whole 2000s?
You can do that too.
Thing?
No shame. But like, I like that shit, man. That was great.
That is great.
Hyperpop, in my opinion, is it's relatively, we can say it's not relatively new. We can say that, like, well, there was PC music, right? That's like. God, someone said that hyperpop was between PC music and something else, and I can't remember what the other thing they said was, but it was like, you nailed it. But I don't know. I feel like Stevie Sphere made this comment on.
I heard the PC music comment.
Brilliant. I really wish I saved it, but like, it was. I know she made this great comment about like hyperpop is this and this, and one of the things was PC music, and the other thing was something else, and it was like the perfect thing, and I can't remember it now. But for real, like, we can say that, like, Sophie was here back in 2011, and PC music was this back and then. But like, I'm all right, hot take right now, like PC music. I remember the first time like hearing like Cutie and stuff like that, being like, that's pretty catchy, and then I remember listening to another like hyperpop song, and I remember being like, this fucking sucks. Like, like not hyperpop song, sorry, another PC music song, and like being like, I mean, it's like flat on purpose. I get that. I get that it's flat on purpose, but like, it kind of irritated me, to tell you the truth. I think it was like way over. I think the critics gave it way too much credit, more than it really deserved, and I thought it was kind of lazy a lot of times.
Yeah, you're not wrong.
But they definitely had like. But I do always remember like Sophie, like not necessarily music being associated with it, and then I remember putting on Sophie's old stuff, being like, oh, that's the one. Yeah, that's the fucking Patti Smith of this shit. Like, there you go. Like that's the Patti Smith of this shit, man. That's like the truth of it. That's like the person doing this with like the grain of truth, But anyway, my point saying is that hyperpop is new, and and it still needs to be, it has not withstood the test of time yet. There was a point when everybody thought a lot of genres were like the next thing, and this is where the kids were going, and this is what's the experiment. I took the words right out of my mouth, friendo. Took the words right out of my mouth. Now,
I love C-Punk.
Got a little bit
I don't think C-Punk gets enough love, but hey, I know it's controversial.
I don't know if we're going to be talking about this genre in another 2 years. I don't know if it's going to leave any lasting impression, or all that will happen is that people will repeat the same sounds in hyperpop into ad infinitum, and the genre will become a joke and a imitation of itself, and it'll be sad. So I don't want to fucking hype hyperpop too much until it proves itself. Vaporwave has proved itself. We're 10 years deep, motherfucker. We got all kinds of sounds. We got all kinds of record labels. We're all friends with each other. There's networking happening. But who knows what's going to happen with hyperpop? I don't know. We'll see. I'd be interested. I'm interested. I'm always interested in the future. I use nostalgia as a tool, but I do not I don't like fetishize it, really. I don't actually fetishize nostalgia. I see it as a tool, as another instrument to use when I make music. But I don't fetishize it. I don't long for it. I'm a little older, and I don't fucking long for all that shit anymore. I'm tired of it.
What's interesting to me is I feel like a lot of the people...
is always doing new things. It's just like it's a genre I've been waiting for.
True. And I think a lot of those people that make that music never actually had those experiences. Or like they're not memories
that
they
separates it, I think.
Which is okay. There's nothing wrong with that, but I mean, I think a lot of people don't really remember, being able to smell cigarette smoke in malls, and palm trees and skylights and all that shit. Yeah, but I mean, that's my hot take for today.
Well, it's neat that people that have and haven't can still both enjoy Vaporwave together, I always find it
I
interesting,
do agree with that.
What ties someone to Vaporwave? Like, what is why did you come to Vaporwave? How did you find it? Why did you stick around? because there's always a reason. Like for me, I kind of chase my past in a way, and Vaporwave
too,
is a
dude.
great tool.
Very
for
much
me
so.
to
It's
Fascinating.
it's an
relive some
escapism thing.
memories and shit.
So you
Yeah.
guys both chase your path, like you get Vaporwave and you're looking, and it's like bringing you back to something, yeah?
I mean, I miss my childhood. You know, that's why I have an embarrassingly large collection of Lego sets from the 80s
Those
and
Legos
90s.
are boss, man.
Oh,
Those
you're
are some
too kind.
dope fucking Legos, by the way.
You're too kind.
Oh, man,
Indy,
those
do you
are
have
awesome
anything like
Legos.
that? Like old shows you watch, toys you have that reminds you of childhood?
A little bit. I have like some collectible thingies, like this bunny, but more it's about memory for me, trying to relive memories, because I don't talk to the people that I was with when I was younger. You know, I'm 33. I kind of long for, 14 to 18, that
Okay.
that era.
What were you
And
doing when you were 14 to
I
18?
don't-
You should describe 14 to 18-year-old Indy for us.
Are you chasing
Oh, I
actual, like, are you just
changed
chasing the
it every
feeling of
year.
a memory, or are you chasing like an actual tangible thing, or is it the feeling of a memory? Because that's the thing about Vaporwave, is like a lot of the music is the texture of memories. So it's not even necessary. And the thing that's fascinating about Vaporwave, it's not even your memories half the time. That's why I love it, and I want to get to the eccojams stuff eventually. But this is why eccojam can be so beautiful and important and the most powerful form of Vaporwave, because it is the texture of a memory, and it doesn't even have to necessarily be a memory you had or remind you of a memory you have. It's like when you listen to a certain album, and it's like, it's supposed to be this like soundtrack to some, like, I don't fucking know, casino in Japan
Right.
from 1980, right? And you put that on and you listen to that album, and you now have the memory, as if you have a memory of being in a casino in Japan in 1980. And none of us were in fucking casinos in Japan in 1980. That's not a memory, but we still love that. Like an album like that, it inserts the memory into like a hard drive, right? Like you just put in this floppy disk into your fucking brain.
It's a cultural experience.
Senses that you can now pick up, and it's not like, and it's not a recreation, it's not a pastiche. It is like as if you experience this and you have a degraded version of what it was like. And now all of a sudden you close your eyes and you're just there, half not, because you're still here, but you're in your mind. You have like this chopped up version of the experience. And man, that's just so important that always remains a part of Vaporwave. It's so important. You know what I mean? The ability to change people like that. That's why people have such emotional experiences sometimes with these albums that are heavy reverb and repeated phrases or repeated sound textures. People have such powerful experiences with them because of just what I said. I think
It has a
that's
strong effect on
That's a
people.
hot take from me. I don't know why other people would like it, and that's why I love it, and I think that's why a lot of people like it too. And maybe they don't exactly know how to put that idea into words. But I know.
Yeah,
What do you?
that
Yeah.
can be.
So anyway, my question is: are you chasing a memory, or are you chasing this feeling of a memory most of the time with the Vaporwave you like?
I'm chasing
Damn.
the desire. I guess it's just a desire to re-experience my memories. What I would love more than anything is to be able to get all the people from my life together and say, okay, we're gonna put on a play and reproduce all of my memories. You're gonna sit here where you were on that
Wow.
day. You know, like,
That's
yeah, it's
amazing.
bad.
That's so fucking. That's like a religious experience that you just described. Wow, I
Well,
love
that's
that.
how powerful music can be. Like
Ooh,
the
R23X
Vaporwave
is
takes
here.
me-
Oh,
takes
what's
me
up, Mark?
there
We were
a
just
lot.
talking about ska.
We were just
You
talking
missed
about
it.
ska. You missed it.
We'll do it again.
Didn't mean to cut you off there, Indy.
What a great guy,
No,
man!
that
Mark
was
is.
fun.
I really just. I want to make sure that everybody out there
Missing
is
Mark.
going and buying some fucking shirts and shit from Mark, because his company is amazing, and maybe we can put a link for that in the.
You talking about the
later.
Yeti?
That's some amazing work that man does
Yeti.
in general with
Yeah, I
music
can-
and with clothing, apparel, and video work. Go back to what you're saying. Sorry.
No, that's it. Shouts out
It's
to
a fucking beautiful
R23X.
thing, man. Isaac, why did you start getting into Vaporwave? Why, I mean, I think you've talked about this a little bit on like I think on Molo's interview with you, but you want to like give us a quick summary?
So, I mean, I have always been a fan of music. I had a super weird. You're familiar with my upbringing. I was
am.
raised in a very like evangelical Christian household and couldn't like experience a lot of pop culture until I moved out of my house at 17 years old. So I experienced a lot of pop culture and just the shared zeitgeist that everyone has as an adult. So at 17 years of age, I got into a lot of the indie rock and a lot of the post rock and a lot of the shoegaze that was really popular in the mid 2000s with like the MySpace era of music production and promotion. And I don't think I came around to Vaporwave till about late 2011, I think. Probably around the time you were doing your thing, full tilt.
Early, bro. What are you talking?
I mean, I found 18 Karat Affair thanks to a 18 Karat Affair, right? And I've got a hot take about that too. So 18 Karat Affair invented Vaporwave. Anyways, moving right along.
That's my hot take. 18 Karat Affair invented
18
Vaporwave.
Karat Affair invented Vaporwave. Glad you agree.
That. You're fucking living someone else's
He was doing it in like
right
2006,
That's
bro.
not like. That's why we have this. Why Vaporwave exists is because 18 Karat Affair.
Yes,
and
sir.
I can explain why later, but we can talk about this now.
Is the first album that you would consider Vaporwave by 18 Karat Affair? Is it that 4060 one?
Maybe.
Oh, damn, I'm gonna have to
Here's
look up
why.
his
And now,
discography
let me
real quick.
tell you why he invented Vaporwave. Because let's stop thinking about Vaporwave as one particular album, and let's start thinking of it as a cohesive scene of artists moving together in the same direction. So, an album doesn't create. Okay, hot take. An album doesn't create a fucking movement. That's not how this shit works.
That is a hot take. I'm gonna need you to take that back.
That's like the dumbest thing that happens all the time with every genre is people pick one album like this is where it all started. What is wrong with you people? You think this shit's that easy? You think it's that simple? It's just one album and that's where... No, dude. It's multiple artists doing multiple things together around the same time, and that's eventually getting into a sort of group think because they had the same sort of values and the same sort of ways of seeing art. And the reason that 18 Karat Affair is the person who started Vaporwave is because, speaking as somebody who was making music around that time, is that what happened is a lot of people were making music. A lot of people felt the same way that we did by around 2010 or 2011, which was we're kind of tired of indie rock. Chillwave was pretty inspiring.
Yeah.
Point Never was pretty inspiring. A
SoundCloud
lot of
was
people,
booming.
all these people, and if you liked One Oh Tricks Point Never, you probably had pretty good taste in music. You probably already were listening to Boards of Canada as well. So there's a lot of like now in your hometown, right, or in your home city, you feel like you're the only person who listens to Boards of Canada, Daft Punk, One Oh Tricks Point Never, the Chillwave artists, and also goes on YouTube and is looking up obscure 80s songs with like worn out videos, right? You feel like you're the only person, right? You know, you see like the Games album is inspiring to you, right? And you feel like you're the only person it's inspiring to. But, so where do you go? You go on a Facebook group, right? You go on a Facebook group like Chillwave, Glo-Fi, Hypnagogic Pop, because like this sort of sounds like you.
My God,
you
I miss Last on FM.
This combination of letters and words kind of sounds like you. And you're like, oh, Hypnagogic. Yeah, I think that's what I do. And from there, you're maybe making your own music in your bedroom and you like post in this Facebook group the homemade music video you made on YouTube. And then other people are doing it too because you're not alone. There's people like you. They just don't happen to be right next door to you. There's someone like you in St. Louis. There's someone like you in LA. There's someone like you in Minneapolis. And you're all kind of thinking the same way and going to the same area. And a lot of us are making music like that, whether it be George's Mirror Kisses or whether it be Auto or Mesh or whether it be, you know, even the dance years like Adventure X, right? Or whether it be at the time, who else was around at the time, obviously. I had to think about, surfing, obviously, Bewilder Beast. These guys, right? Okay. And like a lot of people are making music around the time and posting their videos in there. And like we're all hovering around like a sound that sounds perfect, right? And the thing is that like, you know, we like Dennis was making 18 Karat Affair, and he was getting some recognition. Like, who reposted his thing?
Dude, it was Tycho. It was Comtrue's writing a guest article for Tycho's ISO 50 music blog. That's where I
Exactly.
found
So
18 Karat Affair.
Dennis was getting reposted in that group too, but Dennis got to be like Tycho recognized Dennis, and we're like, oh fuck, like we kind of know that guy, like,
Right.
and then like we kind of know
Those
him.
are weird times.
Right? We kind of know him. Like he did really good. Like no one was talking to each other really yet in the group, but like Dennis gets in on this post on Tycho, and it's like, oh fuck, I gotta try and meet him. Like,
Yeah,
I
man.
gotta send him a message, be like, that's awesome. So it's like the thing that like kind of unified everybody was like everybody really liked Dennis's music, everybody really liked him, and sure we would email other artists that we liked.
He's such a
but
purist, man.
Dennis got back to you. And Dennis liked your music too. So all of a sudden you didn't feel alone, and then all of a sudden you didn't feel alone, and everybody was talking to each other, and then all of a sudden we just all started friending each other on Facebook.
Do you
And then
remember
just,
the remixes that he used to
hubs
do?
just started forming, you know what I mean? And that's why the scene started, and it's because of that shit. It's because we were all like, nebulously going to the same Facebook groups because we liked the same stuff, but we didn't know everybody liked the same stuff. The music we were making sounded similar, even if it was different. The energies felt the same. And then Dennis did pretty well, and we all knew Dennis because he was one of the other people getting posted in there too. And then he got pretty popular, and everyone felt a little bit more comfortable reaching out to each other when that happened. And that's why there's a Vaporwave scene. It wasn't called Vaporwave yet, but it was the same people who were there then are here now.
Guys,
so what else?
Alex from Pacific Plaza knows Bewilderbeast. He says he tour managed the post-rock band he was in back in 2018. Pacific Plaza. Alex.
What?
He knows Bewilderbeast. That's crazy.
Unbelievable.
Yeah, you got to tell us what he's like. I imagine he's cool as fuck.
Greatest artist to ever come from this scene, ever. He's a fabulous, so fucking talented. He's still ahead of his time. Is the problem?
Oh wait, no. He says he knows somebody else. LMAO. I misinterpreted what he said.
That's all right. Well, I mean, Bewilderbeast.
It would be cool if you did know Bewilderbeast.
It's still going to be like another 10 years before people start appreciating him. But
I'm sure Reverb Flight is cool too.
He was like the first person on Airlines Records after surfing, right? He was like the first one. And I remember when I put out my EP on Bandcamp, and I got approached by Penny from Surfing to put out something on Airlines back in like 2011, and he's like, you gotta check out our label. We only have like 2 people on it right now, but why don't you see what you think of them? And like it was Surfing and Bewilderbeast, and I was like, oh my god, I'm so lucky. I can't believe I got to release music with these brilliant artists. Right. And I just like, I already knew they were brilliant. I already knew Surfing was brilliant before they were popular. They're like, we did pretty well. We sold like 25 cassettes of them. Like, that was like good. That was like a good job back then. Like if you like moved 25 cassettes. I'll also say the reason that people started joining up together was because this is like 2010, 2011, and everyone saw what happened with MySpace and saw how big indie labels picked up people that kind of sounded similar to us, or people that influenced us at least. Like these big indie labels picked them up.
Oh yeah.
And so like in 2010, 2011, every single one of us sent out demos to those labels, and just like in the 1980s with punk, those major labels, those major indie labels were like, yeah, we already have this. Like, we've already got this covered.
We have our one token artist.
We already have like 2 artists that sound like, we're not going to sign anybody else. We have this covered. So like it was over in the same way that like, Black Flag wasn't going to get signed the same way the Ramones got signed, right? That wasn't going to happen. Dead Kennedys weren't going to be signed, right? So what happened? The American hardcore scene, forms, right? And it's just like production of DIY vinyl, production of venue spaces, networking for touring, bands knowing each other, even though they live in very different areas. Bad Brains, fucking knows who Black Flag is, right? Mm-hmm. So anyhow, it's just a very similar thing with Vaporwave compared to Chillwave. Chillwave is like the first wave of punk rock, and those guys get signed to the big labels. And then Vaporwave is more like the scene that follows, where everybody has to create their own thing.
Hey, Pacific
done pretty good
Pacific
so far.
Plaza wants you to name names. Any specific labels?
Who am I supposed to name?
The labels that rejected you.
Oh, Mexican
you wanna
Summer,
name some names?
Jaguar, Hippos
damn.
in the Tanks. All 3 of those I don't remember offhand. Like, that I thought like, well, Doldrums is on.
They did
like they were signing Doldrums, or
I remember
like,
Doldrums.
Signed, like Teen Girl Fantasy is on. I can't remember what label it was like on like.
Dude,
Jaguar,
Logan Takahashi
Fantasy,
ended up on Ghostly International actually. Years
What's
later,
that? Say it again.
Logan Takahashi, half of Teen Girl Fantasy, ended up on Ghostly International.
Oh, wow. Ghostly
yeah.
International. So Ghostly International is actually, that's, when Ryan was, going between, when he was going to go sign to his first major label after he got on Pitchfork with Gin City. Ghostly was actually the first record label that Ryan talked to.
Nice.
And he told me that the problem that he was really excited to go see, to talk to the guys at Ghostly, but they really wanted him to do more stuff that sounded like that Gin City EP, and that they wanted him to do that. And Ryan was like, I want to make pop music like Prefab Sprout. And they're like, no, we want you to do this trappy stuff. And he was really upset for a minute after that. But then obviously everything fucking worked out, right?
Oh yeah.
But
their loss.
It was totally their loss. But they wanted, and it makes sense. I mean, I could see that label would want you to go more in that direction. Fair enough. But
yeah, it makes sense, I guess.
Ghostly's a fucking awesome label.
I love Ghostly. Honestly, before Chillwave, I was super into shoegaze and
we all were
Ghostly
super
International.
into shoegaze before Vaporwave.
Oh yeah.
The same thing with FM Skyline. It's the same deal. We all went to that because we were so tired of the indie rock being so overproduced that we're like, what am I gonna do? I gotta get some more textures in here.
Do you remember when FM Skyline mentioned that when he was listening to early Vaporwave, he thought that it was all original material? Do you remember that interview?
I'm sorry, say it again.
Do you remember that interview? FM Skyline said that when he first listened to Vaporwave, he thought it was all original compositions.
A lot of people do.
And that's
the first time they hear
what inspired him to make what he's now making, which is super lush and beautiful and lots of fun.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, for sure. Oh my God, no. Man, let's talk about Pete for a moment. I love me some Pete. What a beautiful human being that guy is.
He's skilled, man.
He's so fun. I remember when so there's a thing on the 100% Electronica channel where we're getting interviewed. It's me and Satin Sheets and Pete all getting interviewed by Aaron Shadrow, with a quiz show sort of thing.
That's what I'm talking about.
So that was at surfing.
Y'all guys were hanging out at a pool.
Yeah, well, Surfing was saying this really nice hotel in Brooklyn, and they asked me, they called me to come over and hang out. And I remember I was on my way over, and Penny's like, "Oh yeah, Chris is coming by," and they're like, FM's guys like, "Oh, who's Chris?" Like, "Oh no, Dr. Chris, Skeleton Lipsticks." This is a terrible Australian accent. Tell her, Skeleton Lipstick, he's the coolest. And FM's guy was like, "This guy's a doctor. I don't know. Is he gonna be stuck up or uptight?" I think he was really
funny.
concerned about what I'd be like in person. And then we had a great time, hung out the whole day, and then we went to go see 18 Karat and Surfing play the night before Electronicon at Baby's All Right in Brooklyn. And Pete had a few drinks, right? And Surfing was playing, so I was actually watching the merch table, and Pete ambles over to me, and he's a little drunk. He's like, "Oh man," he's like, "Well, I heard you were a doctor. I thought you were gonna be oh." And he does this and then he's like, "You're the chillest, man." And I'm like, "You're the chillest." Oh man, what a good dude. He's great.
Reminds me of the time that you met Justin Pearson, and he had a lot of nice things to say too.
He was a really nice guy as well.
I'm still jealous.
No, he was great as well. I told him that I actually played Head Wound City in the OR, and he was
Unreal.
So honored by that. Nice guy.
That's unbelievable.
But anyway, let's talk about something right now, okay? And something I think that is very important that we talk about right now, and that is that I've seen a lot of Twitter things lately about, the state of Vaporwave, and particularly the role of eccojams lately in Vaporwave. And I've seen Epson, mention that, a lot of the albums that were the top 20 last year were experimental synth compositions, and wasn't as much of the sample-based Vaporwave. And I'd like to say right now that the sample-based Vaporwave is so fucking important. The eccojams are so fucking important, right? They're so important. And I was talking about this earlier, about the insertion of memory, right? That concept about memory and what these things do by creating fake memories for you, right? And the thing about the eccojams is it's often the most powerful form of Vaporwave in the entire subgenres. It's so powerful, and it's always like that. Always sometimes the most deceptively simple things are the most powerful things. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
Fucking Klein's, blue, right? The paintings that Klein did of the color blue over and over again, right? That's some of the most powerful art I've ever seen in my life. Or even some of the greatest punk rock has always been some of the simplest punk rock. The greatest rock and roll is often the simplest rock and roll. And in my opinion, some of the greatest Vaporwave that ever gets made is the sample-based eccojams. And the simplest versions of them most of the time, too, in my opinion, can be the most absolute powerful. And I would just really like to say that that's so important. That can never, ever, ever be lost in this genre. If it is lost, the genre is lost. I'm not saying that is the only form of music in the genre, but if you lose that, and if you start, feeling bad, making people who do that feel bad or unincluded, you're a fucking asshole and you don't get the fucking scene. Maybe you shouldn't even fucking be here, because that sort of shit, that is the democratization of music right there.
Absolutely.
That is, you can join
Putting
up.
music back in the hands of the working class. Absolutely.
And you know what? And Wonder Tricks Point Never said this in his interview about the eccojams, because he's obviously the inventor of them, is that the way it works is that, the artist takes the song, the artist picks a portion of the song, reverberates it, morphs it, changes it. How the artist changes it and the portion of the song that he takes to do that says something about the artist. And that's very important. And and it's the sort of thing that you can get involved right away in the scene.
Absolutely.
In the same way that with punk rock, you could get involved right away because you buy a cheap guitar and play 3 chords. You can get involved right away by by downloading a DAW, getting a song, and fucking with it. All right. And now you're involved. Now you're a fucking artist. And that's empowering shit. Okay. And the reason Vaporwave remains strong is because it empowers people. And that should never be forgotten. This isn't a fucking clique. This isn't a separation of everybody. Vaporwave is the melding. Vaporwave is literally fluidity, okay? So the people who would like to wall it off, the people who would like to define it, you go fuck yourselves because you don't get it. And you never get it. And that's exactly what this was always meant to be.
Absolutely. Sheepy brought up something really important. Sheepy says, remember to take your visualists seriously.
Yes, take your visualists
are also
seriously.
Very important.
Super important. Everybody is important. I mean, all the different facets of Vaporwave are important. And that's a great thing about Vaporwave. It's actually like the visualists, we credit them. They're known just almost as much as the artists are. I love that. We talk to them on Twitter. They post on Twitter just as much as we do. The visual artists, the visualists, the moving visuals, and the still photos, And once again, thank you to Sego and thank you to Defunct. These wonderful art we have. Sega, who obviously did the little 8-bit guys that roll in every once in a while, and B, who did the portrait of us in the back, right? So let's fucking give credit to all these people, and let's give credit to the people like Indy right here, who put together those live streams and those Discords, because it gives us a place to post thoughts, it gives us a place to promote, it gives us a place to know each other better, right? And to break down that wall between everybody. Right? It's amazing to feel so close to somebody who's maybe in fucking England or New Zealand.
Rest in peace, all the people in Great Britain that can't tune in right now.
Huh?
Rest in peace, all the people in Great Britain that can't tune in right now.
Rest in peace, all the people. Yeah, that's all right. Maybe on the replay. Maybe on the replay. So,
I have a question for Indy, if that's okay.
Yeah,
it's kind of a heavy one. Indy, what do you think is the biggest problem with music right now?
Music?
Yeah.
In general?
In general. Or in a microcosm. What's the biggest problem?
I don't know if there really are many problems. I think maybe there's problems stemming from the fact that we're in a transitionary phase. The ramifications of people wanting something at the moment they desire it. Like, give it to me right now, that instant, people started pirating stuff. They stopped watching cable TV. And all these corporations started to catch on eventually. That's why we love that classic 2010 era YouTube poops and all that stuff, right?
Man, I missed the early
now
2010s.
But it's like commodified now, and we're sort of back to cable TV, but you have to buy a bunch of different providers now. So people are getting back into torrenting and whatnot. So I think there's something to be said about music in that regard too. YouTube music now, the old Google Play music, Spotify, and it's really changed like how people make money. No one's giving physical CDs to people that go to shows.
Like radio DJs and shit.
At the end of the concert, you wait outside for all the kids to leave the venue, and you're like, yo, you're handing all your CDs, you got your Discman, right? Check it out, listen right now. You're actually meeting people that way. I think Spotify is sort of removing some of that and changing it, and like I said, we're in a transitionary period, so I don't know if everyone really has their thumb on the pulse of what's exactly going on, and we're kind of just like riding it out and seeing where it takes us. So I would call that a problem, maybe. Yeah.
That's a good answer.
Yeah.
I had to ask.
I don't do flyers for Terminally Chill anymore. You know, when
Really?
no,
Ronnie
we don't
did
do
flyers.
anymore. Everybody used to do, you used to grab these flyers and you used to put them at coffee shops, or we put
like
them
hang
on
out after a
bar,
show.
right? So for different club nights. And honestly, like, the way I used to do it was I used to print them at work and just like cut them at work after I was done with cases. And
No shit.
but honestly, I do my promotion. I do my promotion online for Terminally Chill. I
Very nice.
basically create a Facebook ad. I do something on Instagram and I promote it. And when I do the promotion on the Facebook ads, what I do is I'll target Philadelphia, but I'll target certain neighborhoods around Philadelphia. Like, I'll click on several different neighborhoods that are close to Philadelphia and give it like a 25-mile radius. And
Oh, wow. You do paid promotion?
What?
You do paid promotion?
What? I pay for my promotion for Terminally Chill, but like, as in, when I say pay for it, I mean I pay like $40 for Facebook to
Right.
do a sponsored ad.
To do it
you
for
know?
you, yeah. Gotcha.
Yeah, I'm DIY as fuck, man. I don't
Hell
hire
yeah,
anybody to
man.
do anything for me.
No, I had to ask.
Because I can't do it, and I don't release albums either because that's too hard. God bless record labels. I don't know, man. What the
That's
fuck?
funny.
I don't know how you guys run record labels. That's so hard. I like one time was like, I got some extra skeleton lipstick, fucking tapes. Maybe, who wants them? I got 5, and like I got
Right.
responses, and I was like, I have to mail all these. This is so hard. It was
Dude.
hard. I'm like, you guys fulfill orders every month, like.
And there's so many people that don't do it very well, so you got to respect the ones that do, like Pacific Plaza or like Villain,
Business Casual,
100p.
Audio Company,
Yeah,
Power
anyone that's
Lunch,
actually meeting all
all
their
these guys,
orders.
man.
I mean, I know it's hard right now
294, you guys
shipping
do a great
overseas,
job.
but yeah.
Underwater
But yeah,
computing
so I was
comes to
saying, though,
mind.
I don't actually, you're talking about the physical. I don't hand out
I
physical
mean,
flyers
Tiger
anymore.
Blood,
And the
just
way I do
saying.
the promotion is that I target the cities, 25-mile radius. I do that in New Jersey and Pennsylvania, and like that's how we get it. That's how we get people to, and people come and people respond to it.
Oh
And
shit!
they
Someone in the chat literally found out about T-Chill, Team Surface Tension, because of your sponsored ads.
holy shit!
That's cool
There
as
we are.
shit. Well, there you
Yeah,
go.
man. I
It
mean,
worked.
it's gonna, and it reaches the right people, the people who don't care. And the great thing is, like, this is a very specific thing. You get the symbolism, you get the words, like you get the iconography and the language, or you don't. It's like, it's perfect because it's just like I'm throwing out a net, and I'm not trying, and that net is supposed to hit certain people, right? The net's gonna go over a lot of people. Most people are like, what the fuck's this net? Throw it off. But someone will
Right.
see that ad in a small town, and they didn't know this happened, and they'll feel less alone. And now they have a place where they can come out. The thing about Terminally Chill is, like, for a lot of people, this is the first time they ever walked into a club.
Oh,
The
you're not
first
wrong.
time they've ever been. This is the first time they've ever been to a dance club. Like, it's just so funny because, like, a lot of it, I don't know exactly how much some of the DJ community likes me in Philadelphia because I don't really play any of the games, like, and I don't really care about their crowd. I'm not looking for their crowd. I'm not interested in it. And like the people who come to my parties, they pretty much like mostly only come to Terminally Chill, like, and it's because they saw these ads. You know what I mean? And they put it out there, and now people have a place to go where they can meet people like them, where they can hear the things that they want to hear, and be out there in the world, in the vibrant world. Until quarantine
There's
happened,
a lot of
but
people
still.
there's a lot of people who have been heavily inspired by Terminally Chill.
That's
Oh, yeah.
awesome. I'm happy
Yeah.
to hear that. I know I've heard that a few times, and that's really, that means so much to me.
Yeah,
and
you
everything
and Ronnie
means so much to
and
me.
Alex, Pacific
Yep.
Plaza Alex and Reese down at Picari are kind of setting the, and of course George with 100p, but you guys are kind of setting the, writing the playbook sort of, line by line in real time. And people are
a
watching.
little bit, right?
You
It's
know,
crazy.
Of course the
It's
pandemic put a stop to that, but
Yeah, but it's
Yeah.
true. Like, we are, this is like just trying to figure it out one step at a time. And, I'm the sort of person who likes to train and practice before they do anything themselves, anything that's
Right.
specifically their own brand. So, like, I'd been a DJ for a little bit before this, and I specifically became a DJ so I could eventually do Terminally Chill, and
There you go.
can't really start with, approach a club owner and be like, so Vaporwave, and they're going to be like, don't know what that means.
I was
Like,
going to ask
so,
Indy.
I did some other nights, obviously. I've talked about this in plenty of other podcasts or whatever, but, and then eventually was able, I learned to DJ, I learned crowd control, I learned how to promote, and then eventually I was ready. I was like, I networked a lot. Like I have a lot of friends, I have a lot of this and that. I think
You
I
are
know how
very
to
good
do
at
this.
that.
And
Indy, you
launched T-Chill, and like
threw
I'll say
shows
when I
too,
finally
right?
launched it. What's that?
I'm sorry, I didn't mean to talk over you. Indy, you throw IRL shows too, right?
That's right, metal shows, yeah.
Yeah, there you go.
Wait, is this true?
Yeah.
You throw metal shows?
I run a very large metal community in Toronto. Some of the best guitarists and drummers in the world are in this group. Very, very talented people.
Ooh.
It's like prog metal, but not the... There's like two kinds of prog metal. There's the old and the new. It's mostly the new, but it's a good mix.
Indy has a vibrant life outside of the vapor sphere.
I had no idea.
I'm thinking about doing a live show for those guys, actually. I feel so bad. All the instrumental musicians, they're just practicing at home. Like, they're not doing shows, right? So create an opportunity for them to actually record.
There's a lot of extra shit that goes on with that. All the miking and all the mixing and stuff with live analog instrumentation.
I've been working on it for a while.
Dude,
wow.
This stuff must be a cakewalk compared to what you have to put up with.
Man, I can't believe I didn't know this. I love that about Vapor. That's very Vaporwave.
Seriously, dude.
You know what? Like, and that's like, man, all of you guys and everybody in the chat, you all have like it's not even a quirk. It's just like a what? Like, like who's gonna think about? Who's gonna know about the way Isaac was brought up, right? Who's gonna know about? Who's gonna believe that? Who's gonna believe Indy, this huge figure in the progressive metal scene in Canada, in Toronto, right? Who's gonna believe my fucking day job? You know what I mean? Like, it's crazy, man. And like, that's the thing about everybody person in Vaporwave is it's just so strange. This like undercurrent that pulls us to it. And we're not anywhere near it. We're not predictable people. That's the thing. And it's not, and that's why it's amazing. Vaporwave fans are not predictable people. Vaporwave fans are usually the person you meet and you're like, I've never met anyone like that in my fucking life.
Absolutely.
Like, I never, like, you don't seem like, you're not like
we
anybody
are
I've ever met before.
And
that goes for everybody talking right now, everybody in the chat, everybody that we're friends with. Think about it.
I was going to say this.
We actually have some questions in the chat for Indy.
Personally in Vaporwave and know a little bit about, and now you know more about their life, and you're like, didn't see that coming. Like, if you met that person in real life, you'd be like, what? Like, if you were just some normal person that met them, you'd be like, this person is so unique and different. And what do you? And that's why the genre is like that. It's a genre built by extremely unique people that have excellent taste in music.
Somebody wants to know, by the way,
I don't know why
who
people are
Indy's
shocked
favorite metal
that the
band or
genre is
artist
still
is.
around after 10 years. Like, of course it was. Look at the people involved in it.
Yeah.
All right.
My favorite metal band. Ooh, that is.
They also want to know what you think about new metal, so keep that question in your brain too.
Yeah, I want to know what you think about that too.
Would you call like Ne Obfuscaris new metal?
Chat, help us out.
Silently Googles. How do you spell that?
NE space OB Obfuscaris.
Let's see what Wikipedia has to say.
The metal that I gravitate toward. So I don't know terrible much about metal. I do know a little bit, but what I mostly know about a little bit are some of the bands that are maybe like air towards like the artier or experimental side. Like, I'm a big fan of The Body, for instance. Like, that's a band I like a lot, like The Body. And obviously, like, as a teenager, I grew up on Converge and all their side projects. So I don't really know probably about. I'm not sure. What do you think of those bands? I don't know what you listen to.
Converge was ahead of the game for so long.
Okay. Yeah.
A lot of respect.
Conditioning the
for
Empty
Converge.
Sky was one of my favorite albums when I was like 15.
Yeah.
Can you please tell me what extreme metal is? Because Wikipedia says
Ne Obfuscaris. That's like when you have like a guitar, but you're
metal.
also like, wait, no, it's okay, Isaac. That's like when you have a guitar, but you're also like surfing at the same time, and then like
kind of like what Giraffe is doing right now for his DJ set.
Yeah, it's sort of like
Gotcha.
extreme metal is sort of like the rocket power of metal.
Is he being serious?
Absolutely. Yeah.
Oh, so like
The
Gwar.
instrumentation is quite in your face. But my
That sounds
favorite
like a lot
metal
of fun.
band, there's so many different types of metal, right? But if I had to pick one set of albums by one band, it would probably be Thursday's early albums.
Ooh, okay.
Wait, Thursday is metal?
their early stuff, I would say.
I
It's
thought
like
like
hardcore.
like what's it called in a car crash and that sort of stuff.
Understanding a car crash.
Yeah,
Yeah.
that's it. I didn't think they were metal. I thought that was like,
What is it?
I thought that was like fucking like
hardcore.
Yeah, like post-hardcore punk stuff,
I
Like, 'cause
call that
saw,
metal.
It was like
If
I
it's-
saw
if it's
Thursday. I saw
dirty-
Thursday play of hardcore bands. Like Thursday would play of like the Hope Conspiracy, and I'd go see them at the Kill Time.
I'm gonna grab a drink real
I
quick.
didn't like. I was really big into hardcore music, but I didn't know that. Okay, so Thursday. All right, I know Thursday quite well. Yeah,
That's
the Dove,
awesome.
of course.
Yeah, the Dove.
Yeah, the logo, the Dove, of course, man.
Yeah.
All right, so
Everybody
I'm not
check
that
out
far
Full
removed from what
Collapse
you listen to,
by
probably.
Thursday.
Then, okay. Say again.
What's that?
I'm not
I just
too
said
far
full
removed from-
collapse.
Oh, Full Collapse,
That's
yeah.
the album.
All right, I'm not too unfamiliar with maybe some of the stuff you listen to then. I thought like, because you never know with people. Sometimes there's like this really like very like metal especially gets like really into like specific stuff, and it becomes almost like a sort of thing, like a contest about like who's playing the guitar. And like I wasn't sure like what kind of metal we were getting into here, but now I feel good again. I feel like I
Extreme
know
metal.
where we are again. I feel like I got my roadmap now. If you said Thursday,
I love
Converge.
BT Bam.
Who?
Protest the BT Bam, Between the Bird and Me. They're like
BT Bam. Okay.
ultimate,
Loving
most
it.
talented metal band ever.
They're called
There's
Between
no
the
better
Bird and Me.
Between the
Buried.
Oh, Between the Buried and Me. Oh yeah, of course I know Between the Buried and Me. Oh
Yeah.
man, I do know what you're
Not
talking
the
about. I don't
Wait a
feel so
minute.
bad
Am I the
anymore.
only person that pronounces it buried?
Buried?
It's probably
Buried?
buried, I think. But
Oh,
it's
wait,
spelled
buried.
right.
All right, I have a question. How do you guys say water?
Not like that.
What did I say? Water.
Water.
Is this wrong? Is this a New? Because I'm from New Jersey originally, and I do it wrong. I think.
New Jersey.
And I wish John or Pat was here. Christ, that is when I say John, because I bet they do the same thing that I do. Koji as well. He's a Jersey guy originally.
Well, how do you pronounce it? Water, right?
Water.
Yeah.
Water?
Water.
Like W-O-O-T-E-R?
Water.
Water.
I feel like a weird
Wow.
impression of the Pink Panther, like Steve Martin, the Pink Panther, when I say it like
Water.
that. Anyway, what? Water. Can you say it
Yeah,
like me?
Jez is missing this. He says water.
Water.
Water?
Bottle of water.
Well, that's definitely
Water.
not how British people talk. Hey, let's talk about British people for a minute. That's interesting, right? So, you know what's really funny about British people and all my British friends? They all sound different. Like, I swear to God.
Hey, do you remember that story you told me about Tom from Topaz Gang being able to do all the accents?
That's me who told you that.
It is. That's what I just said.
Oh, I think you said.
Yeah.
So,
Yeah.
like, all right. I've met a few of them at this point, right, in person, and like, man, that country's like the size of Texas. Like, everybody
Seriously.
speaks different, and so like, when I talk to Strawberry Station, it's like, oh, how you do? Right, Dr. Chris, how you doing? Right, and then I talk to like, My Pet Flamingo, like I talk to those guys like Donor Lens and My Pet Flamingo, and like, they're like, oh, Skeleton Lipstick, what's going on, mate? And then I talked to Tom from Topaz Guys, like, oh, Skeleton Lipstick, what's up, mate? And like, he's just like, they all have these different, and I did a horrible job at every single one of their dialects/inflections. But my point is that, man, it's always so fun because like, I just expect them all to talk like Harry
fascinating
Potter,
to me.
but no, they all have different voices.
Yeah,
Tom
that's the
from
North.
Topaz Gang, you're right. So what he is in northern Britain, so he can
Yeah.
do like the accent.
Oh, he's got the
Cockney
Scouser accent.
sort of stuff. What's that?
He's got the Scouser accent.
Scouser, that's what it is, right? So he can really like he doesn't do it
Hey,
himself.
I'm Tom.
But Tom from Topaz, he talks pretty normal himself. Him and his wife Charlie is wonderful. His wife Charlie, she talks like this. Oh, get your knickers in a basket. Like she does that shit. Like she does that. I know she's doing it on
Amazing.
purpose, but like she's adorable. Like she's like 5 foot
Yeah,
nothing, and she has this short hair, and she's like, John, where are you? And it's just adorable.
They seem
But
so
Tom-
happy.
over here. But Tom can do the Scouser accent, right?
Yeah.
So like Tom did an impression of this. Like he came to visit New York, and and when he was here in New York, I came to visit him. And when Tom Tom from Topaz Gang does the Scouser impression, he's like, it sounds like this. And I'm like, what did you say? He's like, I want to get a bottle of water. I'm like, what? Like, I'm like, what? And he's like, and when they want to get drunk, they say they want to get mortal. I want to get
dude, the words-
mortally drunk.
They're
So that's
like
a good-
nicknames for
guys,
everything.
You should all
Kill
start
me.
including that into your slang, mortal. So if you want to get really fucked
I wanna
up, you
get
say, I'm going to
mortal.
get mortally drunk. You're going to get mortal.
Dude, there's this guy. He's Australian. He's a CompuServe, and he was telling us about this game they play in Australia called Goon of Fortune. And what they do is
Wait,
they
what is it
take
called?
these. It's called Goon of Fortune, And they take
Goon
these...
of Fortune.
Yes, like the Goonies. They take these bags of cheap, shitty wine, and it's called a goon sack. And they put it on these like rotating clotheslines that they have in, I guess, every backyard in Australia. And they just like open them up and let the wine run out, and people just stand there and let it fall in their mouth. It's called Goon of Fortune, the goon sack.
Man, that's so fun.
Sounds wild.
And that's over in Australia?
Nathan got it on the Hills Hoist rotary line.
Oh.
Goon sack does sound like a dangerous thing to say in mixed company.
Wow, that's really fascinating stuff. I had no idea about all that.
So cool, man.
Indy, is there anything that you guys do up in the Canada that is something that you would do here, and like Americans have no clue what you're talking about, what that phrase means, or what that thing you're doing is, or like why that is? Is there something that's like really like that you like seems pretty normal that Americans would be like, they'll have no idea what this means?
Being from Toronto and the city, like metropolis-ish,
Yeah.
Toronto. Not really. It's pretty similar up here, actually.
Like maybe
to,
one thing you guys do different is like be nice to people, I guess, but I guess that really doesn't count.
We're not actually that nice.
Really?
We just don't say.
Yeah, they have
anything.
police brutality too, bro.
Oh.
We're just quiet.
Oh, that's your trick. I see.
Yeah,
I see.
it's not great.
It's not great.
No
trick.
one talks to each other, It's.
So there's
dude.
nothing. There's not like
the
an
whole thing.
You're giving away
item
secrets, I'm gonna
that's
have to mute
odd
you.
that you don't really see in the States, or you think people in the States might think it's weird. There's
Oh,
nothing.
I
Just
got
kidding.
one. Cheese nips over Cheez-Its.
Oh, motherfucker. We're going to go
Jesus.
there, huh? We're going to meme territory. Where'd you go? Why is there... oh, there he's back again.
Oh,
I
I
don't know why he
was saying he's revealing trade secrets, so we have to mute him.
that was really funny. You did that on purpose?
Sorry.
Wow,
I don't
Isaac,
know
you're really
what
getting the hang of this. You're a real Twitch guy now, huh?
Oh
Look at
man,
this.
I've been learning from the best.
I'm going to say thank you to Isaac for, did you just you scrabbled him again? I see how it works. Okay.
Yeah, sorry.
So thank you to Isaac for actually like running this stream and putting up everything and doing all this stuff. Because like when Isaac wanted to do this, he's like, Dr. Chris, we got to do this thing where we talk to people and we ramble on about music. And I said, that's great. You're in charge. I'm the sidekick because I got a lot of fucking shit to do. And I can't be responsible for this one too. And he's done a great job. Thank you, Isaac, for creating this.
You're
big
too
forum.
kind.
Hey, is there any question? Go ahead. I'm sorry.
At
You're
some
saying.
point, we have to talk about the Mars Volta because everyone in chat has been talking about the
What do
Mars
we want to know
Volta.
about the Mars Volta?
Does
Oh,
Indy,
wow.
do you have an
I've seen
opinion
them
about
live
the Mars
before.
Volta? Really? Okay.
I saw them live.
I just want to
Yeah, oh, yeah.
hear y'all's opinions or experiences because they have been talking about the Mars Volta for like 20 minutes.
Now I'm
Amazing.
lost.
Oh, that song slaps.
I think they were incredibly influential, ahead of their time for sure, and one of the best singers. Absolutely.
Absolutely.
Hands down.
That song
I mean,
I
kicks,
kind of
the one
put
he
them
was
in the
singing.
same category as like Muse, early Muse, Just
I never listened to
I mean, you like
Actually.
prog metal, so I'm sure the Mars Volta has been
yeah.
something. At least
It's like a
entertaining.
required reading.
Yeah.
I actually, so for me, my experience with the Mars Volta is that I was a huge At the Drive-In fan growing up.
Oh,
I
love it.
Oh,
actually
dude.
saw
Did you know that Lee from Hawaii 94 and surfing is also a huge
Yes.
At the Drive-In fan?
that seems about right.
Sorry to cut you off.
Yeah. No,
He's Australian too, right?
Honestly, it's always good to cut Dr. Chris off once in a while because he has a tendency to yammer. So please go ahead anytime you want.
Bye,
I don't
Dean.
fucking care. I deserve it if you cut me off. The point is that I was a big fan of At the Drive-In growing up, and I've actually seen them. I saw them live with the Get Up Kids before, and some other bands.
Oh,
back
the
in the day.
Goonsack himself is here.
What? Who's here?
The Goonsack himself just followed us. You got to thank him.
Oh, thank you, CompuServe. Is that who we're talking about right now?
Well, it's EXE to
All these
MP3.
beautiful
Data
talented
Girl,
people
thank you for the
in
follow.
in the chat right now. You're all so fucking talented and beautiful. You do such good work. Keep doing the good
If
work.
you're not
I'm
following,
always
yeah,
trying to listen to
follow.
it.
Data Girl is easily one of the
Anyway, I
best
was talking
visualists in the entire scene.
I've seen At the Drive-In before. I was a big fan of At the Drive-In growing up. So I had purchased like In Casino Out and Via, and obviously their big album, right? So like I had been a big fan of them for a while, and I was like heartbroken when they broke up. I'd seen them live twice before, and I was heartbroken when they broke up. And man, they were just that was a band you wanted to see live. That's a band, and I saw them at the reunion show when they played Riot Fest in like 2017 or whatever, and like it was good.
Did a
but
new album too then.
they do album too then, that's right. And it was good, but nothing's like seeing a band when they're in their prime And you know, nothing is like it's the same. Even when they reform, like nothing's like seeing At the Drive-In in the 90s, man. Like that's fucking crazy.
Damn, I'm jealous.
That was amazing. And in fucking basement, like not basements exactly, but well, yeah, actually basements. Like the First Unitarian Church was the place where they do shows out in Philly, and it's like a very big basement under a church, right? And like that's where they do shows. And they saw him there with
Unitarians are badass.
that was pretty fucking awesome. They also played the Jazz June, I think, at that show.
Oh,
Anyhow,
wow.
the point is that I was very heartbroken when they broke up, and then when I was like, you know, like then like, you know, a couple years later, I like was like so excited that two bands that were going to be formed. One was Sparta, and one was the Mars Volta.
Yeah.
And like each one had different members of At the Drive-In. One like Sparta had 3 members, and like Mars Volta had 2 members, right? And so like Sparta came out first, and I remember being like, okay, that's all right. And in my head being like, this is just a warm up for when Mars Volta releases their album. like, you know, like I was like, Sparta's pretty good, but we all know
You're absolutely
who the members of At the Drive-In were waiting
were the
for
more
to do.
popular
Like,
sibling.
you 3 are great. You're very talented, but like we all know we're waiting for these 2 guys' album to come out. And then it did, and like yeah, like D-Last in the Comatorium.
One Arm
D-Last
Scissor.
in the Comatorium, right? That's what it was called. D-Last in the Comatorium came out, and that was like pretty like. It was like a lightning bolt. That album.
Yeah, that album was fucking crazy. That one and Francis the Mute.
Big Mars Volta fan. That album was a lightning bolt when it came out in like 2003 or 4, I think. And God, of course, great stuff.
You're going to need
What
to
do you guys think about
expound
Mars
upon the Unitarian Church in Philly because people are going crazy about that, saying that it is a wild venue. Somebody saw Perturbator
wow.
and Ghost there. That's awesome. I would love to
So,
see Perturbator.
Catch up.
I've seen
Oh,
Ghost.
I was at that. Who saw Perturbator? I was at that
Surface
show.
Tension, the person that found Terminally Chill
Oh, it
because
was
of
a
the
Team Surface Tension. Hey,
yeah.
Team Surface Tension. I was at that show too. That was fucking fabulous. That wasn't in the basement. They actually did that show in the steeple. Like they
That's
rarely do shows
amazing.
in the steeple. So you would sit in the you know, the what are they called, the pews, and like Perturbator came out with this huge fucking like light show, and it was phenomenal. I didn't even know.
I
want
wanna
to
see
do
him
all
so
the shit
bad.
that happened at that Perturbator show. And Goss played before them, and like I remember Goss playing and like loving all the instrumental stuff that Goss does, and then like all of a sudden like 20 minutes in, it's like it's time for the vocal stuff, and everyone's like, no, don't sing, we don't want to hear the vocal stuff. Like we want to hear the regular stuff.
Oh, did he do the thing where he goes like this and he like puts his hand on his skull and all that?
Wendy came with me to that one, and like whoa, we were just like blown away. We like before we went like got really. We're all friends in the chat, right? You're not guys that aren't gonna get me in trouble, right?
I think Dan
No?
Mason
Okay.
sat
Yeah,
this
we all
one
got
out.
really,
Go ahead.
because I'm a doctor. Like, we all got like really. Me and Wendy got like like this before we went to see Perturbator, and like that was fantastic. However, like I'm gonna say that when we went to go see George and Surfing and Aaron and them come do their tour and play for that, like we like me and Molly, me and Wendy were rolling pretty hard when that went to go
That's
see
a hell of a
George,
Freudian
like,
slip
you
there,
know, it's
brother.
fun. Sorry.
So I
anyway,
took my, this
gotta
is
talk to
probably,
him in a
I hope he's not tuned in, but I took my brother to go see Carpenter Brute, Dance with the Dead, and Vogel, my friend Robert Vogel opened for them, and he decided to roll at that show, and he had to dip about halfway through because apparently like either the Molly was bad or that was just not the right show to be rolling at. Thankfully I was just drunk, so I definitely stuck it out.
Nice.
Hell of a show. If you guys haven't seen Carpenter Brute, Indy, do you fuck with that kind of stuff? I mean,
Yeah,
you don't like
uh,
metal.
Stuff like, do you suck with Carpenter Brute at least? You at least fuck with Carpenter Brute, right?
I appreciate it. I probably wouldn't put it on though. It's too dark. I'm not into dark synth.
Okay.
You're not into dark
that
stuff?
much.
I
What
understand.
about like dark vaporwave? You like Chinese hackers?
A little bit. Not.
Well, hot take, motherfucker.
Damn, are you even a what do
Are
they
you
call
kidding?
that
I
shit?
fucking love
Hard
that
vapor
album.
fan?
On the cover of it. Oh, I love that. I love the Skeleton albums too. What's the one Skeleton album where it's like he's like, you know, 3D, like sitting in that weird 3D background? Like that album is like one of my all-time favorite albums. I love that.
That's
shit.
an early one.
Really?
And the one with the like super blurry pyramid with like the flame or whatever.
Yeah, fucking brilliant, man. That was like one of the things that I was just like, oof.
Do you want to talk about eccojams?
Someone created a world. Yeah,
Yeah.
someone
That's
created
my
a
hot
world with
take
this, and
is
it's like it was like I saw one
Skeleton.
person describe that one Skeleton Lipstick album as like being in like an elevator that's on its way down to hell, and this is the music that's
Holy
playing.
shit.
And I was like, I love that fucking description.
Wow.
Bro.
I love it. I love Vaporwave. It's so fun to create
Did
worlds.
you know that Hong Kong Express tried his hand at Dark Synth with one of the Mike 10A albums?
Oh, I didn't know that.
Yeah.
How was that?
One of the
Was
Mike
that
10A
interesting?
albums was low-key a Dark Synth album. I'm going to have to just link you to it and see what you think.
I would
I
love
mean,
to listen to that.
I wasn't
I'd
crazy
love
about
to
it, but it
listen
wasn't
to that.
terrible.
What's what?
I wasn't crazy about it, but it wasn't terrible. I mean,
I
it
would
just-
totally check it out. I didn't even know about it.
Yeah, when you think Mike
how could
today,
ever
you
possibly
think-
know. I mean, you can't. It's impossible to know about HK, all his projects.
Aliases,
that's
right,
Not even
yeah.
a possible thing. Like you'll never. That's, and I think that's an artistic choice on his part. Like you're supposed to never be able
HK
to
is
figure
Mike.
out all the
Is
stuff
Mike
he's done.
today, right? Am I wrong? I'm pretty sure he is.
Yeah. What?
Okay, I'm pretty. So Mist is saying is HKE Mike 10A. I'm pretty sure he is. Let me look up Discogs real quick.
Man, it's impossible to ever know all the aliases.
I'm like
of him.
99% sure.
I have an infographic we can check.
You have an infographic?
Oh my motherfucking god!
Yeah.
Big Joe Raccoon,
Someone
ADOV,
made it,
Air
I just
Japan,
grabbed it.
Black Banshee, of course.
Oh yeah.
Next topic.
Not gonna say, not
Next
gonna
up.
lie. hot take. I listened to that Black Banshee album. I
Yep.
thought it was fucking pretty
He's
good.
Mike 10A.
I don't-
All right.
you know, I thought it was pretty good actually.
It's more of the story of like what happened.
I haven't listened to
Hey,
it
let's
yet.
not get into that though. This is
Yeah,
positive stuff
let's-
here. Okay,
let's
I have nothing
gloss
bad to
over
say
that.
about any artist.
But he was
I
Mike
do have a
today.
positive thing to say, and
We'll
that I thought
skirt
that album
around
was actually pretty good. But, you know,
Skirt, he is a talented guy. Blank Goofy was goofy, but great. I like Sub Eris.
I love
Personally,
that.
Sub Eris is my personal favorite
Yeah.
HKE side project.
I'd probably same here. Yeah.
And that's a lot, saying a lot, considering a lot of people like 2814 more than anything.
Hot take. Birth of a New Day is not that great.
That's the content we're looking for.
It's not. It's. the
I mean, it
album
did
cover.
end up in Rolling Stone. What do you say to that?
wait, what?
I'd say
It ended
that's
up in
an
Rolling
indication
Stone.
that
That's
a great. That's a great tangent to an excellent story. That's an indication that people think they have an understanding and they're qualified to determine what other people's experience of vaporwave is. They don't. They
Oh,
have
I
no
hate
clue,
that
and it's
shit. I
too
hate
common
that.
that happens, and that's something I'm very I find quite problematic.
That is the most problematic thing ever, with artistically speaking. When I use the word problematic, we're not talking from a, I don't want that to be confused with talking from a social issue point of view, but from a, let's talk about the word problematic, we're using that in an artistic issue point of view, right? Let's just separate how we normally use that word, right?
sure.
The biggest problem with all art that is niche or that is, cult, is that when someone who doesn't understand it tries their hand at describing it, you know what I mean? And I hate when they do that because they always get it so wrong. And you always worry when people do that because now that's going to be the vision that, right? And that sucks. A lot of people see that false version, that false narrative of the genre, that false narrative of the movement and the people in it. And that's awful, Hate
Mhm.
that.
Can we talk about the
I-
Vapor 95 ad?
I have to imagine that they definitely probably got some stuff wrong, right?
Can we talk about Vapor 95's ad?
I didn't see it.
You didn't see it?
Check it out.
Chris,
Check it
you
out.
saw
What
it.
is
Huh?
You saw Vapor 95's ad.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I
So
thought
Mystery
they were-
box?
tell me what you thought about Vapor 95's ad.
Oh, they did. I think that Vapor 95 does a very good job at running that store, and yeah, that's. What are you drinking right now?
That's a good answer. Bud Light Seltzer.
Awesome.
I'll have to check it out later, I guess.
I will say they
see
did
it.
cover all the subgenres in
Mystery-
one short ad. What? They had Vaporwave, Classic Vapor. They had Future Funk. They even had like the Synthwave guy with the power glove and everything.
Yeah, there's another hot take. Get Synthwave the fuck out of Vaporwave.
Oh,
Get it off the
Synthwave. Let's
subreddit.
talk about Synthwave.
There we
oh,
go.
That's a good one, right? Synthwave is a very controversial genre in the fact it's like the most controversial, uncontroversial genre, right? Like, in my opinion, because Synthwave is like advertise it like when once you know what it is, you know exactly what you're gonna get when you listen to it for the most part.
You're not wrong.
And so it's not controversial in the fact that there's not a terrible amount. Maybe, and that might be my fault for maybe not understanding the genre terribly, but there's not like a terrible lot of deviation that comes from the formula, is what I want to say.
You're
There's not a lot
absolutely
of
correct.
deviation from the formula, right? So it's not controversial in that fact, in that you kind of know the feel of it. But it is controversial in that like people really either like it or they really don't like it. And what do
I
you
love
guys
it.
think? I want to
Don't get me
know
wrong.
what people in the chat think of Synthwave as well. And I want to know what you two
chat,
think of it.
let us
And
know,
I'll
guys.
tell you what I think of it when we're done as well.
But I did ruminate on this. a
No,
little
home
before
resonance is
coming
not
here.
Synthwave. Exactly. Now let's draw that line right in the sand right now. Home resonance, Ognos just said this in the chat. Home resonance is not Synthwave. It is 100% not Synthwave.
What is it?
That
It's
is
like chill.
no, it's like in the same thing as like hotel pools, right? Or VCR
Yeah.
not.
Yes, they
Remember,
call
it's like
themselves
green.
chill synth.
Or some of the stuff that like A-Hero has done. It's in the same world as that. So like,
VHS pop,
whatever
maybe?
you want to call. Yeah, I mean, I once called myself VHS. Whatever you want to call it,
Right.
I call that vaporwave.
It's just
all right?
words.
You know what I still call that vaporwave, because it still has the textures of it. It has the textures of a false nostalgia. It still feels like music from a past promised by a future that didn't exist. It's not pastiche, and the most important thing is it's not pastiche. And there's your difference between synthwave and things like Home or VCR Not, or all the other bands that are like that, or a lot of the stuff on Stratford Court. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
Those artists on Stratford Court, a lot of them. Is like we're talking right now. The difference between synthwave is pastiche, right? It is
Yeah.
a recreation of the past, right? Kind of, but
That's
that
a
stuff
really
is
good summary.
and this stuff is a reinterpretation of it.
Some of
right?
those guys are like crazy purists too. They're using like original hardware and everything too.
Yeah,
Yeah.
like Allison.
It's-
Like
it's a
Allison
little
to
crazy.
me is not
Love
synthwave.
Allison.
Also, yeah, Allison
Allison's good
Navigator. I
stuff.
love Allison as well.
Oh,
I play
Navigator.
all those-
Love Carlos. Very talented,
So
very
I
skilled,
play
very
a lot
kind
of
guy.
I play Allison and stuff of that nature at Terminally Chill. You know what I mean? That's another.
Yeah.
That's part of the tricks up my sleeve, right? That's part of.
It's
And that's like, and like that's the really.
Is,
like,
Pizza
that's like
Guy
the- that's
Synthwave?
That's like what makes the important thing about being Vaporwave DJ is Vaporwave DJ is balancing all those vibes in Vaporwave and putting. It's not like fucking whatever. Be a techno DJ. Play techno all fucking day long for fucking 4 hours for your fucking set. Big fucking deal. Be a Vaporwave DJ where you have to go between future funk and then like vapor funk and then like a George Clanton anthem and then like lo-fi house and then like chill synth, whatever the fuck we're calling it now, right? And then throw in an echo jam that will fit at the right time in the
That's
night.
talent.
Yeah, all right. Yeah, you motherfucking DJs, try DJing Vaporwave, all right? They can't even do it, man. It's too all over the place. It's too much. And you have to be extremely talented to be a Vaporwave DJ because you have so many. Oh yeah, and then throw in some Vapor Trap too. Forgot about that,
yeah.
right? There's another. You know how many different vibes there are in Vaporwave, and how many more they keep
You
creating.
try fitting a telepath
Hard,
song
man.
in there.
It's hard. Like
Classic
you can't.
era telepath.
Every other genre night is pretty specific.
Mhm.
So anyway, let's get back though to what we were talking about. What do people think of synthwave? We've now established what it's not, what it is. So what is it? It's Power Glove. It's things like that, right?
Mhm.
And now, what do you guys think of synthwave? Answer the question, Indy.
I'm waiting.
Yeah, I want
I'm
to hear
waiting
you
for
say
you.
first.
I think it's great. I love it, but it does not offer even an ounce of the same sort of thing. It's a completely different experience, and it's worthwhile to listen to for completely different reasons. And when I see it on the
I agree.
subreddit, it's an indication that people don't actually know what's going on. They don't have their thumb on the pulse of the community, of the music, of the art, and they're there for more like a lowest hanging fruit, low common denominator sort of thing that just kind of gives them the feeling that they're looking for, but it's often completely incorrect and doesn't belong in that space.
Yeah.
You have to go to the right place to find the right thing. And when the subreddit, for example, or some Facebook groups are an amalgam of all different types of things and you don't really know what counts, I think we need to come up with more of a definition for what would qualify, because it's
What would qualify
it's-
as what?
makes me laugh.
In the
It's-
subreddits or in the Vaporwave or in the synthwave?
Sorry, I misheard you. Go ahead.
No, so qualify, are you talking about when you see the synthwave in the wrong subreddit? Is that what you're talking about? Oh,
When people try to pass off synthwave in the subreddit, and
In a Vaporwave
it gets a bunch of upvotes, and I just shake my head. I'm like, who's upvoting this? it just shows you that the people on the subreddit are likely not that like with it, I guess.
So do you like synthwave?
Yeah, I love it. Yeah, I
All
love
right, there we go.
Christine. Christine is my favorite.
Christine, okay.
It's good. Okay.
Time Cop. Love Time Cop.
Time
for
Cop,
sure.
Cop
good.
1984 is
Yeah.
fabulous. So I like synthwave as well. I think it's really fun. And when I'm in the mood for synthwave, I'm like ready to rock out and listen to synthwave, right? You know, particularly if it's the dark synth thing. Like I love me some early Ghost. You know, and I'm a big fan of Perturbator. Like I love when I'm in the right mood. Synthwave fucking hits, man. I love it. Do I listen to it every day? Of course not. I'm not interested in listening to it every day because a lot of times I kind of want to listen to music, and oftentimes I want to listen to music that's going to inspire me to make my own music, right? And so that means I'm going to listen to a lot of Vaporwave, a lot of experimental music, a lot of music that inspired me when I was younger, a lot of new wave, a lot of things that I consider to be really interesting. And there is a lot of music I listen to that is not for inspiration, and synthwave is one of those musics I listen to for fun. I don't really listen to synthwave and think I want to make that. And there's a lot of music I listen to and think and don't think I'm gonna make that. I want to make that. A lot of music I listen to is like is music I don't want to make. But that music I listen to that doesn't inspire me to make or to think or whatever, I just it's stuff. It's like candy for me, and but that's only for me. It's candy for me, and it may be nutrition for other people. So there you are, right? You know,
it's a good metaphor.
It's a lot of fun, and I fucking love it when I'm in the right mood. I'm in the car. I fucking, I'm gonna fucking, blast Master by Ghost or whatever.
When
right?
the production is really
I'll
tight,
fucking love it, and it'll be amazing. And I had the best time ever at that Perturbator or Ghost show. That was one of the best shows I've ever been to. You know what I mean? And those are also, and then both those two bands are like kind of like really elevated synthwave anyway. Like I don't even think I should be even mentioning them when I'm talking about synthwave. That's like elevated shit. They're their own thing. You know what I mean? I wouldn't even. They've transcended that label in my opinion. Anyhow, so
Perturbator and a lot of the other guys are kind of moving into
subreddits or the synthwave Facebook groups or the synthwave YouTube channels and just like let it play, and I'll fucking have a great time. And maybe there will be something that makes me want to copy a sound or like use it as my own a little bit with my own synthesizers. But it's not the music I listen to every day, and it's not. It's a little bit of candy for me. It's nutrition for other people. Nothing wrong with that. Isaac, on to you, sir.
Oh, I love synthwave, dude. But honestly,
I know you love synthwave.
I do. I mean, when you played Pizza Guy at the Econ LA after party, I was like, that's my jam,
when
man.
I played, what did I play?
Pizza Guy.
Oh, that's synthwave.
Would you call it? I would say it's kind of synthwave-esque. Yeah. The one with the music video where he's delivering vinyls and pizza boxes. I don't know. I kind of think it is.
No, because like there was like a whole range of music that like came out on Gigamesh had this record label called like Mullet Records.
Oh yeah, so kind of like a new disco type vibe.
I don't want to call that new disco either. I don't know what to call it. It was like Gigamesh's vibe. Like my favorite song ever written is "Estate in the Red," and like you can't even find it on. You can find the YouTube video for it, which is one of my favorite YouTube videos. Just look up "Estate" song in Estate ESTAT in the Red. That's like one of my favorite. That's maybe my favorite song ever written, or at least in my top 10. And like I don't know what you call that. I don't think it's synthwave. I don't think it's definitely not new disco. I don't know exactly what it is. It's a little too polished to be.
You're not wrong,
right? And I don't know what it is, and that's why I love it so much because like, I don't know what to call this. This isn't new disco. This isn't synthwave. This isn't chill synth. I don't know what this is, but I'm getting nostalgia feelings from it for some reason, even though I'm not sure.
I think synthwave has had the opposite arc that vaporwave has. I feel like early vaporwave was amazing, and it's changed a lot.
Maybe that was early synthwave.
Synthwave was amazing,
right,
but like synthwave, the early synthwave acts are great, and there are still some great modern
I guess
acts,
Mullet Records stuff would be early synthwave, huh?
I'm not familiar with Mullet Records.
So you're positing right now that stuff like, Gigamesh's record label, which had like Casio Social Club and Estate and this stuff on Mullet Records, which I know from that time period too, in the 2011, 2012 stuff. So that was like, you would consider maybe that was like the seeds of early synthwave, and then it just sort of like got like dumber.
I'm thinking like Mitch Murder, Comtrues. Those guys.
Comtrues is not. I don't consider Comtrues.
You don't
to be
consider
Synthwave either.
I mean, you're right. He's
No,
more of like
Comtrues
a-
is not Synthwave because like Comtrues is another band that was very influential on early Vaporwave, and early
Okay.
Vaporwave was always influenced by people that just sounded like nobody else. Comtrues was the kind of band you listened to, the producer you listened to, and wished more people sounded like him, and nobody did.
Fair enough.
You know,
Fair
like,
enough.
and like it was the same thing with
That's
Boards
true.
of Canada. You wish more stuff sounded like Boards of Canada, and nothing did at the time. Daft Punk. You wished more stuff sounded like Daft Punk, and you were like, well, I hear French House, and then you listen to French House, and you're like, this is a little too club oriented. You know, I know my experience is there's a lot of great French
Justice.
House, but when like Justice is a whole other, that's Ed Banger Records, man. I'm talking about around Daft Punk's time in like 1996, 97, right? When they
Early
first started.
shit,
When
yeah.
you first heard Daft
Homework.
Punk, you were like, oh my God, this is amazing. This is like some combination of like indie sensibilities with electronic music, right? Like pop sensibilities with dance music. And the thing about a lot of dance music is oftentimes just dance music sensibilities. Why did Daft Punk last? Why is Daft Punk more influential than other
It's club
acts?
ready.
For a couple of reasons. One, obviously there's a strong visual component, a strong high art component. Two, it's really fun. And three, it was dance music with pop sensibilities. That's why LCD Sound System has a line in his song that says, I was the first person to play Daft Punk to the rock kids. Everybody thought I was crazy. And well, you see, like, you know what I mean? In Losing My Edge, the greatest song ever written. The greatest lyrics, at least, ever written are in the song Losing My Edge. Best lyrics I've ever read in my life, and probably will ever be written, in my opinion. And if you really read them and understand them, it shows you exactly how this whole cool thing works and what happens to it. It goes in cycles. Anyway, my point is that Daft Punk lasts because of that, right? So back to Comtrues, though. I'm just saying he's another unique artist that you wish more people sounded like.
Yeah.
And I don't want to see anything in the chat about like, well, French House, there's a lot of stuff like Daft Punk. No, there's not. No, there's fucking not. It's dance music. It's great dance music. French House is excellent dance music. Barely anything had the pop sensibilities of Daft Punk. They were the first people to put really big pop sensibilities into dance music. So don't feed me some shit about French House music. I've already fucking listened to it. You're not impressing me. Anyway, go on. See, that's why people think I'm very touchy-feely, and I am. I'm very kind, but I'm not afraid to say this shit too. Great dance music. French House.
It's no, it's all true.
French
It's-
House
I
is
think
amazing.
people
Let's
think
stop
about
that
it
right
a
now.
lot.
This is not an aspersion casting. French House is brilliant, amazing. We would have nothing without
What
it.
does casting aspersions mean? You say that a lot, and I don't understand what it means.
Just like saying bad things against, talking against, speaking against. Put it that way.
Oh, okay, I got you.
Yeah.
Also,
Put
can I
that
point
to
out, Chris and
add
I
it
did
to the
not both
lexicon, sir. Add it
intend
to
to
the
both
lexicon.
wear the red beanies. That was a coincidence. I have my Team Zissou beanie on, but we didn't call each other. I
Team
promise.
Service Tension is going to show me a bunch of stuff that sounds like Comtrues, and I'm all about it. And it better fucking sound like Comtrues, or else
Have you
I'm
heard
gonna
Glamour
be
Shots?
disappointed in you, my friends.
Or
What?
Glamour Shots is pretty good if you want some more early
Send it to me.
Comtrue sounds.
I don't know offhand. Send it to me, please.
I will.
You know. But anyway, we were talking about Synthwave. I guess we've said everything about Synthwave now. Then, right? Is that it?
I don't think there's
That's-
anything else to add. I like the
Isn't it-
dark synth more than anything.
We all
personally.
like it for different reasons, pretty much, right?
Yeah.
Mm-hmm. All right.
Wait a minute.
What do you got?
Indy, do you have the Bad Baby beanie
By
by Native Gemini? Do you own that red Bad Baby beanie?
No,
Oh,
I
Agnes
bought the
is
two
asking us
tapes
why
from
we don't
her like
have
way back.
a red
Way
Bad
back.
That's such a
Baby
fun
beanie.
thing to say, isn't it?
Well, you and I are both wearing red beanies. Didn't you hear me
Hey, can I
mention
ask you
that?
some? I know, right?
Yeah.
He's the one. Yeah, absolutely. What's
So-
everybody? What shirt are you wearing today, Isaac? What is that shirt?
By chance, I actually
Dan
happen to
Mason.
wear the shirt that is in my avatar.
Who is that?
It's Dan Mason, bro.
Oh, damn it! I can't
Yeah.
see. I couldn't tell it first.
It's okay.
Because that's awesome,
It's
man. That's
okay.
a beautiful.
Yeah, it's-
man. Dan Mason cannot be stopped. That
No, he
man cannot be stopped. Man, more than any other artist, that man, whew, he just is like, he's such a killer, man. He just like, this music just like, it just pierces through the fucking sky of Vaporwave. And
Did
just
you
like,
hear the new album?
the new album? Which one? What are we talking about right now?
He like went back to his.
Oh,
kinda
no,
classic-
wait, that's out now? I didn't know it was out. I knew he was advertising it. I didn't know he released it.
You talking
Yeah,
about the
I'm pretty
2018 outtakes album?
Yeah.
Oh no, I
That's
didn't
right.
know it was out. I remember him saying like, "What if I had an album?" And I was like, "Oh, I'd be excited."
That's
my
such a Dan
friend."
Mason thing to
And
say.
Yeah, man. He's just so fun, and like you know what I love about people like Dan Mason, and is
Maybe it's
never
not
exactly knowing what to expect the next album to sound like, and I think that's great, and I love it when artists do
He's
that.
very
I love when
prolific.
artists kind of he's prolific, but like a lot of the albums sound different, and I really enjoy the fact that I don't exactly know what the next album by him is gonna sound like. It's gonna be a surprise,
It is indeed.
and just what a wonderful guy, like just so likable in general. Right?
He was the headliner for our last Rosewood event, and he
nice.
killed it.
Yeah.
I'm pretty sure I saw tears in that boy's eyes during that last song.
That
Oh,
was
and can
such
I
a
just
great
point out,
time.
DS Dude 500 down there did the visuals, did a stellar job.
Nice.
Really smashed
yeah.
the visuals. Shout out to Daniel. That guy's a lovely
Yeah,
guy.
yeah.
Both of them are.
It was his Ghost Enterprises, not the 2018 thing.
Oh yeah.
And he's also,
That-
what's the name of that one album? And it's named after that forest. You guys know what I'm talking about.
I do. You're talking
Yeah,
about the Suicide Forest
course.
one?
Yeah.
I know.
Ahoku.
Akihara Online,
Yeah,
something
that's
like
Dan as well, isn't it?
by Mori.
Ahokigara Online,
artist
something like that.
You know, like
Someone will
you
correct
know what's
me.
funny?
It's
It's
cool.
like when Dan started in Vaporwave, and when his first album started coming out, and I didn't know who he was at the time. I was just like, "Who's this Dan Mason guy?" I'm like,
Yeah,
"Yeah, people
same.
seem to love to groove to this kid."
Right.
And like I didn't know who he was at the time, and like I thought, I'm like, Dan Mason, like, well, a lot of people seem to like him. He must be somebody like pretty big, like maybe I know him, like I didn't know like how like man, this guy like he just like shot off like right away when he started like making records, and I like there was like the guy who owned what's it fucking called Keats Collective, right? Like
Oh,
his
yeah.
his first name was Dan. He was Dinosaurus Rex, right?
I
And
believe
his first
so.
name was Dan, but I couldn't remember his last name. And I'm like, this must be like Dinosaurus Rex from Keats Collective. This guy's
Yeah.
no way this guy could possibly be this popular unless he's like a real old head, right? Like this must be like Dan from Keats Collective, and he's like struck off and done his own thing. And he's making like some future funk albums now. And his last name must be Mason, and I just never knew Dinosaurus Rex's last name was Mason. And then I like realized that wasn't even Dan's name, and I was like, oh no, man, this guy just has charisma. That's all that's happening right now. He's just fucking charismatic.
He's just that good.
And he's fucking a great
He
producer.
took everybody
Yeah.
by
And
surprise.
like, so like, that's always amazing to me when people can just come in and just like take the shit by storm. And whoo, Dan Mason, I stand Dan. Love that. Love
Miami
that fucking shit, man.
Virtual
I love
1
when
and
people
2.
do that. I love when people just like take shit by storm, because like it like really upsets the status quo for a minute there. Like people get like shaken up when someone comes in and like shakes things up, right? Like I remember like Tupperwave got pretty big there, right? And honestly, like I think it ruffled feathers. I think it ruffled some feathers. And me,
It's because he doesn't change the music very much, right?
I don't know, man. He does what he does, and I love it, and I like that, and it honestly deeply amuses
But
me.
some people don't.
Well, that's
Same
deeply
as waterfront dining, you know.
I was gonna say, I don't think I heard
Ruffled
anything
You know
that
what, man?
like.
You know what? Deeply amuses me when someone does that and and other people like get mad. Deeply,
Dude, it amuses me too, in much
I
the
love
same way
shit
that
because
whole
it's like, well, it looks like you better work. You're just mad. Looks like you better work harder. I always loved it when somebody in the scene didn't change that much, and now that's like that's like something like I do a lot of original composition stuff, right? So to me, that sort of stuff forces me to up my game, because now I'm not competing against I'm competing against all these artists plus Diana Ross. Well, so I better do a really good fucking job if I want to make somebody listen to my music.
Oh
in the
shit!
Vaporwave scene.
Miss
Absolutely
says
true.
y'all weren't amused with PZA.
Pizza time.
I remember when that was all going down, and like, I don't really. Here's the only thing that annoyed. So I know that was really annoying, and that was awful. I know he was like straight up like stealing some tracks right from people and like putting them on albums, and that was the big thing, right? And that's a no-no, especially if it's other Vaporwave artists. Here's the thing, right? You do not steal from other. Let's like make this clear. People say, well, Vaporwave's about sampling. I'm like, yeah, it is, but we don't take from our own kind. This is us.
Yeah, exactly.
This is our counterculture versus the status quo. So you don't steal from your counterculture, or you work with your counterculture. You talk to your counterculture. You don't sample them without
Your peers.
talking to
You
them.
remix
This is
it,
like the
maybe.
line. This is like I don't want to hear people say that
credit.
there's like not a line here. Like don't fucking be fucking. There is. And you just you're just saying shit, right? Like, just like, you don't take from each other. You're in this together. So please, like, that was a line, right? I will tell you, so I wasn't terribly involved in that. I saw it going down, and I didn't, being that I hadn't even heard these fucking albums people were talking about in the Vape Council at the time.
Oh, I missed the Vape Council.
Yeah, well, it was in the Vape Council. Everybody was talking about it.
He's a good producer.
Well, here's the thing. I didn't know what was going on, so I just followed it, but I can't give a terrible opinion on it because, like, it didn't look good. It didn't look good to me. That's what I can say, and it obviously wasn't good. What actually annoyed me about him was just that every time he released a new album, he would tag you in it on Facebook. So don't you hate that shit when people tag you in all their stuff and like you just like turn on Facebook and now like their shit is like all over your Facebook? Like that's actually what annoyed me about him was like I would just log onto Facebook and I'd be like tagged in like some new album. He's just coming out with a new album every week and I'd be like, man, come on, man. I just want to update people when I get a shirt. Like,
I think the album that he has on BizCash is actually his original compositions, isn't it?
He does do, he does his
what's ironic is his actual production is pretty good.
Who are we talking about again now?
PZA.
I honestly, I never bothered to listen to any of this stuff because I always got so annoyed that it showed up on my Facebook.
It's kind of along the lines of like Blank Body and like.
Oh, okay.
I mean, when he does it himself, it's not bad.
Okay, I mean, I don't want to ever write off anybody. Do you know what I mean? And I always believe that everybody is worthy of redemption. You can always change. Every day is a new day for redemption. You fucked up, you did something, you hurt some feelings, you did a bad thing. Well, tomorrow's a new day to make it better. And, I really believe that. I really believe that everybody has the ability to change, the ability to appeal to the better senses of people and to be a better person in general. And, I really hate seeing people get written off sometimes, and it hurts my feelings, and I feel bad for them. Like I feel so bad, and I just want them, if they do something.
He did get a lot of chances. I agree with what you're saying. I hear you, and I agree with you. I think people should get second chances, but he did get a lot of second chances.
I mean, once again, like I wasn't. Once again, I'd like to also mention. Yeah, while all anyone. Oh boy, really? See, here's the thing. While all this was going down, I was looking at it through the corner of my eye because I think I was like really in the middle of like med school, dental school, all that good stuff. So,
I don't know how you fucking did it, bro.
That 2016 period to 2000, that's like not really like that was like almost the time that I was like, I think I might be done making music.
2016 was terrible. 2016 and 2017 were terrible years for Vaporwave. No disrespect to anyone that dropped an album in 2017.
But there was a lot of great stuff that happened. Let's not neglect
the good stuff. Really stood out.
Like socially, it wasn't a very good time. There was like a lot of like almost like irritating masculine, overly masculine behavior, and it's not even like masculine as like being a jerk. It's like masculine in like the way that like men whine about shit sometimes, right? Like, no, but this is for me, but I want it. Like it's like little boys. That's what it was like. It was like a lot of little boys running around doing some dumb shit and begging for attention, and I was not about like this. And it's such a better scene now than it was then. And not that
man.
Thank God. It's amazing that there was so much good music that came. Like I'm just like Vincent remembers did some outstanding albums during that time period.
I have to just say the chat is ripping me a new one. There were good albums that came out in 2017. There were.
Is this because you? Man,
there were good albums that came out in 2017. Hypernova,
there was amazing albums that came out in 2017. A brilliant.
There were. I'm just saying, like, all right. Guys, I'm sorry. There was good stuff that came out in 2017. Just there was a lot of toxicity as well.
So the problem, I know. Now I was very clear to make sure I said I was the problem with the little boy attitude that was going on.
Yeah, it was the attitude.
The music itself, not the music itself, but a lot of the little boy attitude. The little boys begging for attention, crying at each other, or a lot of crying, a lot of baby asshole bullshit. Like grow up, and everybody.
Hey, Monica just made a really good statement. She said Pacific Plaza mentioned to her how diversity isn't talked about. She wants to know what we think about that.
Ooh, what diversity is? That's one of the big things that was really irritating me about the Vaporwave scene back then was how it was just a bunch of like boys yelling, a boys club yelling at each other. Man, I fucking hate that shit. Vaporwave is supposed to be about fluidity. Vaporwave is supposed to include, man, one of my favorite things at Terminally Chill is the variety of human beings of all sizes, shapes, colors,
absolutely,
creeds, dogmas, beliefs, sexualities, genders, etc. They're all at terminally chill. And if you look at my pictures on Facebook, you can go look at, because I have my friend Rich, who takes all those fabulous photos at terminally chill. Scroll through those photos, you will see just how fucking diverse Vaporwave fans are. It's real, and it's hard to see it sometimes because we're all on the internet, and I don't know, sometimes there are a lot of established artists who are white males, but all I know is they're fucking out there, and I want them to start making music. Or I want them to start making art. You don't have to make music. And that's the other thing, too. Sometimes people are involved in the Vaporwave scene and feel like they have a responsibility to make music. You don't, man. That's okay. Like, you don't have to fucking, like, you're important. You're valuable. You're more valuable than these artists. Like, I'm not sure people realize this, but, like, these artists are nothing without the people who support them. Nothing. And all artists out there should remember that. You are nothing without these other people in the scene. Nothing at all. You're not heard by anybody. You're just another motherfucker making music. So I never want to see Vaporwave people with an ego. And we've sort of avoided a lot of that with most people, right? Most people don't have a big ego, I think. I'm very positive thinking.
Lux was telling me
I like to believe that most Vaporwave artists don't have a big ego because we all talk to each other. And if you do, you're in the wrong fucking genre, because you should have a high awareness of how special and beautiful fans and everybody else are. So,
Lux was telling me she feels like a lot of the bigger egos in the scene have kind of not threatened Vaporwave, but kind of brought it to its brink. That the egoism and just kind of egotistical aspect of certain personalities have really just kind of.
Is it really already 11:45? We're gonna have to wrap this up.
We are going to, but nonetheless, I just wanted to chime in and mention I agree with you completely. And I had been talking to Lux about that as well. So it sounds like there's kind of a consensus. I just love that they're calling.
Go ahead. You were saying, Indy. I see you moving your mouth.
I was about to say, I think Vaporwave is genderless. There's a lot of genres that have a specific gaze that you perceive the music through, especially when it comes to music videos, things like that, performances. And that's really unique. That's what I love about Vaporwave. And I think encouraging whoever wants to make music to do it is awesome, and that's what Vaporwave's one of the things it can do, and I think it's really special for that. That's it.
That's a really damn
man.
That's a quotable.
Every time Indy takes a breath and makes a statement, like makes a statement. It's so eloquent. And this is why I'm thinking Indy's got to have Indy as the first guest. He's gonna know what to say.
An honor.
It's an honor to have you. He's gonna know what to say to put this in perspective for everybody. Isaac's gonna say cool stuff. I'm gonna ramble on like some kind of asshole, but and I'll get overly aggressive. But Indy will say it calmly.
Why do you think I had Fanty draw the pictures the way I did?
Yeah, I know who I am. Don't worry about it. I know who I am. I get it. I don't care.
I don't care either. It's great.
Yeah, I don't care, man. That's cool.
I celebrate it.
I happen to get very passionate. I'm a very caring person. I just happen to be very passionate. I have a bit of an edge. I get it. Well, I have a big heart too. I care a lot about this stuff. I care a lot about my music. I care a lot about everybody's music, and I care a lot about the scene, because this is the only scene where I feel comfortable expressing what I have to say. When I write my music, when I do those live streams, when I create my visuals, that's me trying to communicate a lot of abstract ideas about what I think about the world and what I see and how I view things without words. I mean, I know this. I know the songs have lyrics sometimes, right? But even the lyrics I write are usually pretty abstract. I'm trying to give myself to an audience, put my soul, communicate it through words and sounds and imagery, right? And what other scene could I do that in but Vaporwave? I would never fit in. And my music, my personality, the way I view the world, and the way I view music, and we can do this in any other genre. This is the only crowd that would get it. It's the only crowd that would ever get it.
Hell yeah, bro. Hold that mic a little tighter.
Yeah, right? I have a fancy microphone that I use to record vocals.
Holy shit, let me see that. That looks like an award. Or oh, okay, I see. It looks like a goddamn trophy. Damn.
Yeah.
MTV Cribs.
I have the most boring
Well, of course,
Behind
like
the
when my
scenes.
computer's position is obviously the most boring background. I have all this cool shit to left and right. Stairs, like, have fun.
Yeah.
There's the stairs. Like all the cool shit is to the left and right of me, but like obviously,
don't
like,
trip
you're
going up
facing
the
this direction.
stairs.
Like there's the stairs and the space heater. Even though I have these really fucking cool synths over here.
Oh yeah,
and here,
didn't
but-
you have your power go out for like a super long time?
Yeah,
a
I
week or
lost
so
power.
ago?
Well, I lost my heat is what happened, and that was not fun.
Yeah, you did not look
Space
happy.
heater's just not up here. I just don't have the heat up very high right now, so that's why the space heater is running. Do you guys have questions for the chats? Because we're gonna have to wrap this up soon, man. Wow,
Yeah.
what a success it was! I can't believe like we had like so many people listening to us chat.
Dude, we've
for
had like
so
40
long.
viewers the whole time. You guys are great. Shout out to the viewers.
You're great. Wait, hold on. Can we go through like
Well,
man,
first of
I'm
all,
not
you
even
got a
doing that right
compliment
now,
for your
because
shirt.
We're talking about the anonymity aspect of Vaporwave, but like, boy, oh boy, that I don't think we even have time to get into that right now. That's just too big of a subject. What questions do we have for the chat right now? What do you guys have right now?
Well, Molo
Like,
360
smaller answer
complimented
that won't
your
make me ramble.
Molo 360 complimented your shirt. I
Oh, it's a Gummo
I
shirt?
complimented his
Yeah.
shirt too. That's a Gummo shirt.
Gummo, that's my favorite scene from Gummo with Chloe Sevigny when she's doing.
Oh, Daniel wants to hear some hot takes from Indy.
Okay.
People are too nice in Vaporwave. I think we need to be more critical of one another and challenge each other in our musical production, in our visual production, whatever it is. People are too afraid to speak openly to one another, and it's not just about providing constructive criticism. It's also about, we're people are living in fear almost in the Vaporwave scene of being honest with their friends because no one wants to disappoint anyone. But it's not like that helpful. And I see people like that not progress as much as they could if the case was different. I think we need to challenge each other more and be more critical and less passive, I guess. You know, there's so many albums coming out, it's hard to hear every single one. But yeah, I don't know. I think we need to be more honest.
Yeah, I agree.
What do you
I think
think?
so too.
Maki
Yeah,
says,
I agree because like I think my stuff is fucking dope. No one's gonna criticize it anyway.
Maki says lots of people don't know how to deliver critical feedback well.
So I think that here's one thing about. So my advice about that is to the Vaporwave people out there: go to your friends for the support, for the ego boost, to feel confident, to feel empowered to do things. Right? You know, you use your friends in the Vaporwave world to feel empowered, to feel like you have an audience. But remember, you might not get the most honest feedback, not honest feedback from them. They are giving you honest feedback. They're so proud of you. Most of the feedback from Vaporwave is like, that's amazing. I'm so proud of you. And that's great. And that's honest and that's truthful. But you need to be your own self-critic. You have to develop your inner self-critic. You're already a critic if you're in Vaporwave because you listen to a lot of music, you've watched a lot of movies, you watched a lot of art. You should be able to criticize your own work. What you should be doing is if you're a musician, you should take your song and put it on a playlist, and in front of and behind that song, put an artist that you like, admire, and kind of want to sound like a little bit, right? Maybe pick two
That's
or
good
three
advice.
different ones. Make 2 to 4 different artists that you want to kind of sound like that are relatively different from each other, and put your song in the middle of the fucking playlist. And if 2 songs go by and then your song goes, and then 2 songs go after it, and there's a serious drop in quality of, you know, whether, and that's not necessarily technical quality either, right? If there's a serious drop in just like, you know, the, you know, quality, right? You know, and interpret that however you want between those 2 songs to yours, get back to the fucking drawing board because your friends are still going to tell you you did a great job. And you did do a great job. You made music. You made art. Every time you make art, you do a great job. But there's a difference between doing a great job and also a difference between doing a great job and doing something that people outside your public sphere are going to care about. You know what I mean?
Mm-hmm.
And so like if you make art, if you make visuals, watch your visuals, and in front and behind, watch the visuals for an artist that you admire. is there a significant drop in quality? And I'm not, and this isn't even like, and I'm not going to tell you what quality means. That's up to you to decide, because you need, that's the other thing too.
That's
I don't
really
like
good
sometimes
advice.
with people. I don't like, that's what I do. That's what I have done my entire fucking career. And that's why when you see the skeleton, why do you think, and that's why I've been asked to do fucking 15 live streams in this whole fucking quarantine.
You have been quite prolific,
I've done
sir.
like 12. I believe I'm the only person who has done like live streams on like a Dream Punk live stream and a Future Punk live stream.
You have been all over the proverbial genre
like,
board. It's impressive.
I did live stream with Montaigne Records.
Can we talk about the fact that you
record
just
label,
did an experimental one?
And Villains record label in the same month.
And
I got asked.
And you were just on Sight Sounds and Conversations.
I get asked to do them by these people. Like, and it's because like you got to have that quality control. Like you got to be your own critic. Stop asking other people, what do you think? We all think you did good. And if you ask me what you did, I'm going to tell you did good too, because my job as being when I'm being a mentor type figure is to point out the things that are really good that you do. And when I'm pointing out the things that are really good, I'm also saying focus on it. Like that's what the good stuff is, right? But you'll have to be your own inner critic. You'll have to listen to your music and decide whether you think this is good enough, right? And I want to let everybody know that if you make art, you're doing a great job. Just the act of making art is a great job, because it's hard to do. I know how hard it is.
Yeah.
And I know how scary it is to do it and to put it out there. I know how scary it is to make art and put it out there. It's very scary and it's very hard. And you did a great job when you do it. But once you've done a great job, if you really want to get to the next level, you got to really, really think critically about it and really, and I say go with what I suggested earlier. It's a great technique. I do it all the time.
That's a great technique.
That's
Absolutely.
a good hot take, Indy.
Thank you.
Yeah, that was a
if
hot
you
one.
want to, people need to ask themselves, like, why am I making this music and what's the purpose?
I got something to say
is
about that.
going to listen to it? Who's my audience and who am I making it for? Is it myself? People do that all the time. I do. I know tons of vaporwave artists, and look at all these tapes. All these people make their shit for themselves, right? But not everyone can see in the chat. I prepared a whole thing, and it's 4x3.
Oh damn!
But no worries. But you need to carve out a channel.
You know what? I'm just gonna.
For yourself.
Yeah.
And
So
look at your thesis when you're making the music. Like while you're making it, go back and ask yourself, what is my thesis? Why am I making this? And it'll help you sort of carve out a path for yourself and offer something unique. Because that's the thing. Like, what are you offering that's going to make people want to listen to it versus the next album? How transformative is it? What are you really offering? Has it been heard yet? Has it been done yet? Do you want people to buy your stuff? How much conversion do you want?
Man, this is priceless advice.
Follows? There's so many variables that go into it, right? So I would say always go back to your thesis and ask, why am I making this? Who am I making it for? And you'll probably be able to carve out a path for yourself easier.
What flavor of salsa should be paired with my album?
Is Pico de Gallo a salsa?
Yes, but it has to be very fresh. Don't know if you can ship Pico de Gallo.
Pico de Gallo, right? Is it Pico de Gallo?
I don't know.
Like Vincent Gallo?
That's very Canadian of you to call it Pico de Gallo. I'm really sure it's Pico de Gallo. You're gonna have a lot of people who are in California getting mad at you right now.
Shit.
Yeah, because we're in that time zone. To go back to what you said just now is that I want, if you want to, some people just want to make an album because they want to make an album. Maybe they don't want a deeper theme for it. Maybe they just want to do it, and that's fine. But just don't expect it to connect with as many people. Maybe if you do it like that. Here's the one thing. Let's go back to eccojams one more time, and I'm going to say right now that I spent a lot of time talking about why it's important, right? But now I'm going to go on the other side and say that the issue becomes with it that it's been the biggest form of vaporwave for 8 years now. So yeah, it is dropping off a little bit because we've heard it for the last 8 years. So if you're going to do it, you might need to bring something new to the table, right? So like you might need to really reach a little deeper. You know why? Like the greatest, most successful eccojams artists right now, when you listen to their music, you feel their energy and their personality in the music. Like you feel the message happening. You can tell. Like when you listen to, let's say like Trash Ghost's latest album, right? That one, like that's like my favorite album of last year.
Aroused.
That album is a revelation, and I know Trash, and like I feel his presence in every bit of that music, and I feel him and his personality moving and his message just unconsciously being transmitted to me through that album, and it's so him, right? And so like you have two options now. You are either going to do that kind of album where it's a very personal album, and you're going to have to really meditate when you do those tracks and infuse your personality and energy into the eccojams, and it'll work. It works. Like, let me tell you, if you guys all like Luxury Elite because you feel her in the music, you feel the character in the music, right? That's why she is the most popular of that art, of that type of artist, because you feel it in the music. That's very important, and it's not to be taken lightly. It's a very powerful thing and a very difficult thing to do. It's like, just like in the way that like there are photographs and there are films, right? And let's say like the experimental synthwave artists, experimental synth artists who like, you know, are doing a lot of crazy stuff. Like that's the films, right? But but pictures are just as powerful, right? A great photograph is just as powerful, yes? So like that's what the eccojams are. And it's really hard to do a great photograph sometimes because it's only one image. A movie, you can spread your legs out and do a lot. Like I spread myself out when I make music because like I'll use synthesizers. I'll throw in some sample textures too. I'll do vocals sometimes. Like I have a lot of room to spread out to make my artistic message and to express who I am and how I see the world. Like I have a lot of room, but the eccojams artists have a very small space to tell you who they are.
They do kind of paint themselves.
The same way a photograph has a very small space to make you feel something. So you could just
probably
be very,
It's a hard game to play.
And so like your other option is to do a theme, right? Is to create a world of the eccojams. So if you're going to create a world, then you like really, you're going to have to create a world we haven't seen before. You know what I mean? Like, you know, you're going to have to do like, there's somebody, I have a list of, I asked people on Twitter to give me their favorite eccojams or sample-based
I saw that
happened in the last 2 years. And it's, I have some amazing recommendations that I learned about on it. And there's, you know, there was this album by like Technicolor Dreams called New Classic that just has been sticking with me for a long time. It's really absolutely wonderful. And also I've really been like diving into Penthouse Suite's work, and man, this last album, Overtime, like when I saw Penthouse Suite, I thought, oh, I think I've heard this before, some hotel, like I'm going to be in a hotel or something. I don't know, man. It was some sort of fusion of like a hotel with a workout without a work training video, and it was funky. You know what I mean? Remind me of a little bit of like some Daniel Marzayetto early stuff by him. That Penthouse Suite album was dope. And then there was another album by TV2, and this was called BP Oil Spill 2010. And like that was a brilliant concept, and like I really did feel like this was like an apology note from a big company. You know, it really made me see like it was so like
that's a really cool
like it was so like
description.
Like a fake apology from a
in these
shitty
trying
company
times
that doesn't give a fuck about hurting the world.
Yeah.
And that album, my TV2, BP Oil Spill 2010. Wow, that might be my pick of the week. That that was great. Anyway,
loving it.
And every album on that, if you go on my Twitter, look up that, I'll repost it and go through all those albums that people have been posting because they're really good. And okay, that's what I have to say about that.
What are yours?
We're running out of time, man.
We are out of time.
Me and Indy got to go to bed.
You guys do need to go to bed. Poor Indy. Let's thank Indy for joining us tonight.
I go to bed too. I work tomorrow.
I know you do. I feel bad for you too.
Poor Skelly.
Okay, yeah, poor Skelly. Let's thank Dr. Chris for staying up late and Indy for joining us. Skelly. Let's thank the viewers. Thank you so much for being so engaged.
Thank you guys for being here. Yeah, you guys have been wonderful.
And let's thank, of course, Tech Honors for rating us.
Yeah, thank you, Tech, for rating us.
Next week we
love you very much.
Not next week, actually. Date is to be determined.
Well, hold on. So we maybe date to be determined. This is a pretty intense show to do because we do a lot of talking and it's a lot of deep thinking when we do these things, right? We might, and I'm busy, you're busy, our guests are busy. I'm thinking maybe we do this every 2 weeks right now.
At the most.
And that way, and that's better. Also, like, that's what I'm going to do with the What's Skelly Listening To playlist now, is like every 2 weeks. I'll be updating it tomorrow because, you know, I do a lot of shit, like in addition to, you know,
I know you're kind of snowed under.
Now that, and my job, like, man, like I have like people ask me to do live streams all the time. I do remixes all the time. I have like right now, like I just sent out my Winter Quilt remix for his upcoming thing. I just finished a lot of stuff, like a super flat remix before that, and
that
then
would
some
slap.
own music.
That would
So
slap.
like I can't like.
Do you want to introduce? So maybe soft date the 15th. Do you want to
Okay,
introduce?
let's do 2 weeks maybe.
Do you want to introduce our
Do I wanna introduce-
our guest for episode?
Our
2?
next guest. Why don't you? I am the sidekick.
Okay,
You're the
our
host.
guest
You
for
introduce.
episode 2, soft date the 15th, is the Wizard of Loneliness. Mr. Wiz
yeah.
is going to be on here to definitely help us out with
Wiz
some
himself.
strong
Colin
opinions.
himself, who himself has a lot of strong opinions and a very
It is going to be a
wonderful
hilarious
perspective on music.
evening.
Very smart guy.
You're not
And
going to want to
hilarious.
miss it. Indy, thank you so much for being our first guest, and personally, thank you so much
We
for
gotta have
helping
you
me
back,
out
man.
with
We
so
gotta have
many
you
of the
back.
stream issues. I really, from the bottom of my heart, I appreciate you.
Anytime, yo. Thanks for having me.
All right, guys.
All right.
Josh thinks we should raid another channel. I don't know who we should raid.
Can I
Who
give some
should we
shout outs?
raid?
Yeah, give it.
Oh yes.
Please give
yes,
some shout outs, and maybe they can
I'm
tell
sorry.
us who to
Before
raid.
we go, let's get some shout outs. And what do you want to promote?
Yes,
Still got
please.
like 40 people in the
You
fucking
have-
chat like the whole time. So go ahead. And promote
have
what
the
want.
floor.
So awesome. I'm gonna shout out everyone in the chat, definitely. I want to shout out you guys. You're so
Mwah.
awesome and knowledgeable, and it's always great to listen to you guys talk. And your music selection and curation and interest is so fascinating. I always learn great stuff from listening to you guys and look forward to it all the time. So thank you. Keep it up. I got a bunch of people here. It's a pretty big list. I made a little list, so I'm just gonna run through it real fast.
Yeah, please.
Ricky Foss, OG Vaporwave homie right there. If you know Ricky Foss, like I can't get into it right now, but he's the best. Alex from Pacific Plaza, of course,
Love
number
that
one
guy.
homie, dear friend.
Dude.
Again, you can't sum it up in this short a time, so I'm so sorry. Scott Michael, Atlantis, Cat Corp. Music Doc. You gotta have me on again. I have so much
Scott,
to
we
talk
gotta get
about.
Scott on.
Oh, we'll
gotta
do
get
it.
Scott.
We'll do it.
Gotta get
so,
Scott.
Man, he's such a sweetheart.
Yeah. Yeah. Love Scott. Check out Scott Michael on Facebook. He's a homie. Yo. Music Doc. He helps with Tiger Blood. Obviously my partner at Tiger Blood. Patrick Ludamage. Robin,
that guy's
Internet
amazing.
Club.
Patrick, man,
Ed.
the collector, the original collector, in my
Yeah.
opinion.
Yeah. Oh, and Mass Suit ACE. He's the blue hose. Some people will know what I'm talking about.
I'm gonna check that out.
Dream Shore, Ronnie,
Yeah,
Oh
dude.
man, I love Ronnie.
Yeah, Ronnie.
Dot Starkey, Channel Surfing, Eric Hughes, Aqua Blanca, Cosmic Cycler, Holy Toast, Vapor Memory, Tropical
Vapor
Virtual,
Memory, yeah.
Q,
Only
Stu-
love for Vapor Memory. Everybody always, every day you wake up, think of a kind, beautiful thought, close your eyes and think of Vapor Memory to send that energy to him, okay? Send
Absolutely.
that positive energy to him, please.
Absolutely.
Number
ahead.
one. If there's one homie to pick, it would have to be Vapor Memory. Tropical Virtual, Q, Stu Idib,
Love Q and Stu.
Emmanuel Hochelander, Enzo and Jay from My Pet Flamingo, Strawberry
Really?
Station,
Everybody.
Sun Car,
We should have done this.
Mr.
at the beginning.
Zobelli.
Zobelli.
I'm gonna keep going.
Keep
Please, keep
Uh,
going.
Yeah,
Going. I
BizCat,
love it. I love the love.
G-Ban and Cerelia from Utopia District. Everyone from Utopia District. I can't name everyone right now. I'm so sorry. I love you all. Luxury Elite,
Woo!
Groovy
Lux-
Kaiju,
Yeah,
Groovy
Private
and Lux.
Tweet, everyone from Private Suite,
I love all
Mackie,
these people.
Mackie.
I
Matt,
love all these people.
Me too.
Nano Shrine,
Oh man,
And Nano.
best
Seabod.
Vaporwave game.
All Hell Breaks Loops,
Second
Oh,
best
City Man
visual game.
Production.
Hell yeah.
Tokyo Wanderer,
Fuck yeah.
Zero, Trash Wave,
Ah, my favorite.
Ognos,
Love him.
Love Ognos.
Benno,
Ognos.
and last but not least, of course, Pad Chennington.
Pat
Chennington. Yeah.
He got to ride on Chris's shoulders. Lucky bastard.
Pat Chennington rode on. That was not planned. Pat
I
at
believe
Pat
it.
Terminally Chill. Like Pat was like, we were just like, there was just so much energy in the crowd. Everyone was having such a good time. Pat just like taps me like, yo, do you think you could get me on your shoulders? And I'm like, could I get you? He was like, let's do it. And I was like, I didn't even have a chance to say yes. And he was like, up on my shoulders. I'm like,
Just climbed right on up there.
Right.
while
I wanna
shares,
do
like
that.
someone put on Share, Believe Life After Love, and it was so fucking awesome. It was like, and Pat swinging an American flag around on my shoulders, and a bunch of Vaporwave kids who
And the
all
establishment
colors,
looks on in
creeds,
wonder.
sexes, genders, shapes. Now that's what America is, right?
Mm-hmm.
America is that it's supposed to be Vaporwave. America is supposed to be Vaporwave. A collection of all of us dancing in all different shapes, sizes,
Somebody clip
beliefs,
this.
values, colors, all loving each other, all wanting diversity, all wanting the world to be a better place, and Shares playing in the background. Do you believe in life after love? Swinging around American flag,
Hell
'cause
yeah.
that's what America's supposed to be. It's supposed to look like Terminally Chill, and not any of this other garbage. One
All
day we'll
non-Americans
get there.
welcome as well.
You nailed
Good
it.
point, Josh.
I nailed it. Yeah, I nailed it, man.
Got him.
But
Okay.
thanks.
I
wanna
want. Do you want to plug anything though, really quick? before we
Oh
go?
yeah, man. Okay, Utopia District, of course.
Hell yeah! The place
oh,
to
yeah.
be. The place to be in Vaporwave. This is where you want to go to get. the
Damn,
Vaporwave
look at that.
In the
Big old
year
slip mat.
2021, you want to go to this place now to get all your Vaporwave
Yeah, get your
information,
vaccines so you
for
can
the new
visit.
stuff coming out, like for your conversations. This is where you want to be. It's the Utopia District.
Thank you so much, man. So we have turned
All
slip
the
mats.
stars are in
Look at those. Those are
Utopia
beautiful.
District. Like I'm in there, Lux is in there. All the stars of Vaporwave, all the old heads and the new heads, we all go to Utopia District.
It's a poppin' place, and I thank you guys so much. Like you're really making it quite exciting. It's awesome.
Yeah.
And we have some stickers and other cool stuff. So merch coming.
Oh, wow.
Tiger Blood Tapes, of course. My label. You check it out. TigerBloodTapes.com. Oh, we got some merch. I got a hat here. It's pretty
Hey,
sweet.
Oh, look at that sweet piece of gear. Look at that elegant design. I mean, is that from the Chanel
damn.
store? No, it's Tiger Blood's tapes.
Damn,
Wow, look at
100% could take a cue.
Yeah. Okay.
Just
what
getting
else?
that merch
Anything
is
else?
great.
I don't really have too much else. I don't know. I want to plug Chief Leaf and Middle Class
Love
Comfort
Chief
and
Leaf.
all the other people that are doing the little awesome things that are keeping the community together, like the 2020 guide website that Middle Class Zico
Yeah, that's
made.
great. Love that. Always love those.
There's just so many cool people doing cool shit, and I don't want anyone to stop. It's so awesome to see.
I don't want
and
anyone to stop either, and it's been 10 years and we haven't. We just have gotten better at it.
Absolutely.
Yeah,
Yeah. All right. So can I promote stuff too? And,
Yes.
even as even as a sidekick.
Yes.
Yeah. Okay. So I obviously have Skelly Smoochums, the newest song on Spotify and Bandcamp and such as like that. You listen to that. I did a lot of fun wobbly bass lines and played with LFOs on my synthesizer to
Art by
create
PJ
those.
Rourke.
We have the Lipstick Elite. The Lipstick Elite set happening. Isaac is going to be there as well, obviously. That's happening with Rosewood, and that is on Saturday, right?
Friday.
I'm doing that too.
Friday.
Like
that is
that.
on
Oh,
Friday.
Indy's doing visuals in that. All three of us are involved.
Indy's doing visuals on that. Yeah, Indy's all three of us. And Luxury Elite and I have worked really hard on putting together this set, and I think it's going to be a wonderful experience. I'm very excited. I have I'm going to be on the remix album for O Discordia by Winter Quilt, which is also going to have such amazing artists as Alpha Chrome Yeo, Eyeliner, Tokyo Wanderer, Cell Shade, myself, and Hong Kong Express are all going to be on doing remixes on that album. In addition to that, I did a remix for Ultra High Titan's final album. He had a bunch of us do. I did something for that. I did a super flat remix, obviously, of We the People, and that is now officially on the Future Funk Spotify playlist. I am in the rare club of having a song on the Future Funk playlist and the Vaporwave playlist. I'm one of the few artists. It's me and 3D Blast And I think Mitro is on there, and Architecture in Tokyo, and Skylar Spence. I think all of us have one song on each, and I think that's it. Ooh. Maybe some other people. Rare Club. I feel very honored, very, very lucky. Like I've never tried using that submit feature on the artist Spotify thing, but I'm definitely gonna do it for the next because I want to see if that works. But anyway, I think that's all the things I have to promote at the moment. Oh, wait, yes, one more thing. I have a new album that I'm working on. I played some of it at Codex Encyclopedias thing.
Yeah, I was waiting for you to bring that up.
Yeah, so that's going to be fantastic. That's this melodic ambient
Cool
album
as
I've been
shit.
making. That's in the vein. If you go look at the Twitch channel to see the very last performance on Codex Encyclopedia's last Sight Sounds episode, you can see what I did there. I made these incredible, I don't want to toot my own horn, it's pretty incredible visuals I created for that. And it's an ambient album, a melodic ambient album in the vein of Emerald's album, Does It Look Like I'm Here? Or One of Tricks Point Never's album, Russian Mind. It's very much like that. I have some people who are going to be contributing some shoegazer style guitars or twinkly, like strange guitars to it. And the people who will be contributing to that album are Winter Quilt and Golden Living Room and Lee from Hawaii 94 and Surfing and Tower of the Sun and Donor Lens. Yeah. They'll all be on the album
It's
too.
going to be amazing.
And that's what I have to talk about.
Can't wait.
I don't have a whole lot other than the Night of the DJ event, Friday, March 5th, 6 p.m. Pacific Standard Time.
And
We're going to
that's
have
why I put you in
Lipstick
charge of Hot
Elite.
Take Paper and not myself, sir.
Definitely come out to that.
Come out to that. We
Amazing.
got DJ Sabrina the Teenage DJ. We got Groovy Kaiju.
Oh,
we got
God,
myself.
I can't believe that. That's amazing.
Yeah, shout out Dan Soko for pulling DJ Sabrina the Teenage
I
DJ.
can't believe you guys got DJ Sabrina. The
One
Teenage
thing that's
DJ,
not
one of
often
my
talked
all-time
about,
favorite
the
artists.
after parties. We're going to have some serious after party action. I don't know if it's a secret who's performing, but there are actual like after parties planned, and there are some pretty cool
Really?
artists. Oh yeah,
I don't even know.
there
about
are some
this.
pretty
Wow.
cool artists that are scheduled to play the after parties. So
Okay, we gotta go to bed soon. Everybody's
do.
logging off because it's like 12 o'clock in the morning.
it is. So thank you
and,
for
like, people
tuning
are getting
in.
Tired.
Thank you, Indy.
We're finally losing the chat, people. All
March
right. Should we
15th.
rate something?
We're going to raid Pacific Plaza in 3, 2, 1, but be sure to tune in for the Wizard of Loneliness, March 15th at approximately the same time. Thank you guys and good night.
Good night.